94.5. Glad you're with us as we roll you into the weekend. Big basketball weekend coming up. The Combine happening right now in Indianapolis. We'll get more workouts today. We will update you on a few of those from yesterday. A couple of impressive performances. A couple of guys we had questions about. Maybe put some of those questions to rest. And some college football news that we want to get to. We mentioned those S&P rankings yesterday. We'll discuss those a little bit today. Revenue sharing, a big topic of conversation again. GMAC, where some certain coaches saying some things about where they feel like college football is going. And it continues to feel like a lot of coaches believe that this revenue sharing, once it does hit, once it's in place, is going to solve all their problems, or at least a lot of the problems. I still have doubts that we're just going to get there and everything is going to flatten out and be easy or be consistent.
Yeah.
But maybe we do get there. And maybe, once this is laid out, that college football will begin to calm down to a certain extent.
Well, I'm cautiously optimistic that's accurate. But I think that's wishful thinking. I don't know if you see it that way. Like, all right, hey, this is going to solve all our problems. All right. When was the last time something solved all of our problems? Ever?
Yeah, especially in this sport. As we know, most solutions to this sport usually end up bringing extra problems. So
I'm talking in life. I mean, seriously. Like, when was the last time one thing fixed all of our problems?
And didn't create more?
Yeah. No, I mean,
I was going to say cell phone. That led to a lot more problems.
But say we're still going to have problems regardless. So whether we like it or not, we're still going to have issues. We're still going to have challenges. We're still going to have things that we don't like.
Electricity.
That solved all of our problems?
At that point in time, yeah.
Benny Franks figured it out.
Being cold, not being able to see.
Tommy Ed, being cold, not being able to see.
Refrigerator?
Refrigerator's a good one. For sure.
Costs a lot of money, though.
We got rid of...
and the Iceman lost his job.
Iceman lost his job.
Icebox guy.
That's not our problems. That's his.
And we didn't need as many salted meats anymore. So that's a loss for everybody. Until charcuterie made a tremendous comeback. What else?
I can't think of anything else.
Everything, dude, this is not going to solve all our problems. When this goes down, the House settlement, it's going to hopefully calm things down a bit, but it's not. You can there's still ways that guys are going to make donations to NIL that are tax deductible. There's still ways that people are going to be able to find the loopholes. They always do. And they will in this case as well. And we'll be talking a year from now about, well, we didn't see that coming. Want to bet?
That's fair. And I think it's interesting that there are certain coaches that look at it and even feel like the majority of their problems will be solved or put to rest or won't be quite as difficult or, I guess, convoluted as they are now. Kalen DeBoer speaking to Pete Nakos recently. Nakos quoting him as saying, having a more balanced playing field helps our situation. It allows us to get where it was at one point just a few years back, where recruiting is real recruiting, not just someone who's going to put in the highest bid. That's from the Alabama head coach.
I would love for that to be the case. I think it's naive.
I think we're all just hoping Alabama can find a way to get things back on a level playing field. If that could ever happen, I think we would all just have a much better peace of mind.
It's been too long.
It really has.
It's not our fault.
It's just you talk about a program that just fights your way out of a corner consistently. It just is. I mean, just gets up off the mat time and time again.
Are we the underdog?
Just against the odds. And when you think Alabama, you think, man, don't want to face them when their back's against the wall. Don't want to see them crawling out of the foxhole.
Are we the little engine that could?
There you go. Now we're talking.
Wow. So everyone has money but Bama.
I'll give you credit for that one. That was good.
Well played.
For those that have been around for a minute, that was really good.
Seriously, can we just for a moment talk about that for 1 second? Like
the butt Bama?
No, the butt Bama is a
problem.
But I did enjoy that. But I really am trying to figure out, like, what is the solution to where we have no problems anymore in college football?
It's way too late for that.
Well, the problem is that everyone has an opinion as to how college football can work. You look at the NFL. The NFL is a very simple process. It's 16 teams on each side. They have 4 divisions. It's manageable. It's easy. It's digestible. There's really no way of making it better. It's already kind of optimized. Like college football, there's a million ways to make it better. There's also a million ways to make it worse. We can go in a lot of different directions in our sport. And that's what I think makes it kind of fun, especially on a platform like this where we get to discuss and debate and figure out best practices here in real time.
It's and the problem with it is when you lay it out and weigh it against the NFL the way that you just did, it almost sounds 10 times more difficult. And I think some people look at that NFL model and say, if we can just get to that, it'll be so much easier.
Yeah.
The beauty with college football is that it becomes a problem as well. But part of the beauty of college football is that it's not an even playing field. And they're not all built the same. They don't all have the same advantages. And you like to see some of those teams that don't be able to do special things every now and then. Now, some people will tell you they don't want to just see the same 5 teams being able to do what they do on an annual basis. So by trying to get things to a certain spot, you're going to crush part of the beauty of college football as to where we got it today and how it was. If you would like to see those teams extend away from one another, what are you going to get away from? The regionality that made it great, the rivalries that made it great. I mean, SEC goes to a 9-game schedule down the road and then finds a way to do some sort of non-conferencing scheduling deal with the Big Ten because they want to continue to push the cart down the road, as does the Big Ten. Are we going to lose Georgia Tech, Florida State, Kentucky, Louisville? Because if you sit there and say, well, no, those are rivalry games, they're just going to keep those. Well, I can tell you this. These coaches don't want to keep adding big games like that. I'll offer you up Matt Rule on the Triple Option show yesterday. Quote, why in the world would a Big Ten team who's already playing 9 conference games, why would you ever play one of those games? So he's already telling you right there, his mindset is to go backwards in scheduling, not move forward.
Well, because look at the example.
Indiana, right? Is that your example? Because that's what everybody was frustrated with in the playoffs this past year is they got in, their schedule was a joke. Did they deserve to be in? I mean, it's kind of where we are, right? But we all thought that we were continuing down this path of, 12-team playoff. Now they'll schedule tough teams all the way through. Now they'll realize if they lose 3, it's not a big deal because they played a bunch of difficult teams.
Yeah.
That's not the mindset right now, apparently.
Because we're 1 year removed from a team that got the benefit of the doubt by playing nobody. That was the first year. It's not going to be like that forever. That's why those that are torching their future non-conference home and homes need to be very, very careful. I think. Because that was 1 year. Like 1 year, okay, cool. We let in Little Sisters of the Poor non-conference schedules. We had a few of them. Indiana is the most egregious example. They played the toughest team they played in the non-conference was FIU. Congratulations. So that worked one time. I don't think that's the norm. And I might be naive. I very well could be. I'm not trying to sit here and say I'm not. I think that's a very real possibility that Greg McElroy, you're being naive.
Yeah.
There's also a very real possibility that I'm not. And there is a possibility that the SEC and the Big Ten might get their way by going almost exclusively to a, well, not exclusively, but they will put the highest priority on strength of schedule. They will adjust the criteria so that strength of schedule is the most important, because the last thing we want to do is penalize teams for challenging themselves. We don't want to do that. That's bad. That's
well,
bad.
However,
precedent.
we've gotten to where we are now, we have worked away from that point because we are back to the point of give me a couple of lettuce weekends and we don't really care because we don't think it's gonna harm our chances of getting to the playoffs.
Might not.
Well, and also let's consider this, Greg. Are we heading down the path realistically of 4 auto bids from the SEC and the Big Ten? If so, does scheduling matter? You're automatically getting in. How much is schedule going to really matter at that point?
Not a lot.
It's an auto bid. I mean, look at the NCAA tournament. If you win the Horizon and your non-con is a joke, you get in. It's an automatic bid. So if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, all right, our league's going to have 4 in no matter what. If we stay with what we got now, the team that wins the league is in. The team that lost in the championship game is probably in. All right, so we just got to be one of the next 2 best teams. And by the way, we got a chance to get in otherwise still.
Chance. Saying there's a chance.
So it's exactly what you just brought up before. All of the solutions that we continue to come up with solve one problem and seem to create 2 or 3 more.
Correct.
Because we thought 12-team playoff. Oh, everyone, they're just going to want to have the hardest schedules humanly possible. That way you can lose 3. You can lose 4 and get in. We had that conversation before the season this year.
We did.
How many losses would be forgivable in this new system?
Well, a lot of people thought 10-2 you're in. And that ended up being pretty close to true.
Nope. And there were a couple of teams that we sat here and told you, wait a second now. Go look at that schedule and tell me 10-2 on that schedule gets you in.
10-2 is a lock.
And who were they? Ole Miss was one of them. Notre Dame was one of them. And some of those teams that went 10-2 that we told you with that schedule, they didn't end up getting in.
It's true.
So it's unfortunate to hear. I get it, what Matt Rule's saying. I'm not saying I'm mad at him. I totally understand it. If he has to play 9 Big Ten games and then an SEC team.
Yeah, I'd be mad at that.
I'd go play Citadel as well. Hell, I might go lower than that. I might go play Lindenwood.
Whoa.
Why
Kansas
not?
played them last year.
Yeah.
Mercer.
It's an NAIA team, I believe.
Mercer without the offense.
Whose offensive coordinator is doing what now?
Ripping at Navy.
Off when we referenced him. So, yeah, it's disappointing to hear it because we all want it to be.
It's a huge bummer.
We all want it to be what it can be, and that is awesome games every week. But still,
it still can be if they just push back a bit.
But if there's 1 or 2 lettuce weekends for every team in college football, if you spread that around a little bit, every weekend should still be incredible. Hell, every weekend's incredible for us anyway. But every weekend should be really incredible. It's all right to have a homecoming game here and there.
Yeah.
It's not going to ruin a schedule. It's not going to ruin a season. We're not going to have 2 whole weekends of college football where it's like, what games are we going to even watch this week?
Yeah, it's great to have it's great to have those homecoming games. You know what you don't have in the NFL? Homecoming games.
Well,
if we are trying to strive, let's just be real. Yeah, that's fair.
Didn't the Patriots get the Titans by 56 one year or something?
Thereabouts. But we strive. Do we not all strive in whatever field we're in to be the best? Like, what's the best in our field? Like, is our goal not to try to be the best?
I would hope so.
I would think. And right, in order to become the best in some cases, you have to watch who's doing it better than anybody else. And then you have to try to mimic. I'm not saying mimic, but maybe try to align yourself more like that group.
Get your compass at least heading in a similar direction.
If the NFL is the best, I'm not saying that I watch it as much as college football. I watch college football more. You guys know that. I mean, I'm a college football fan. But the NFL is the gold standard of competitiveness and consumption. Nothing's bigger in our country, and it's not close. Now, college football's closest, but it's still not close. Why would we ever do anything that the NFL would never do? Like, the NFL doesn't say, you know what, we really need badly to play the UFL teams 1 week just so our teams can have a rest. No, they don't do that. Why? Because it's ridiculous. There's no reason to play a team that is beneath you as far as talent and skill level. There's not. This is not charity anymore. This is 2025. We play big boy sports now. We don't need charitable handouts. Oh, the money games and all this stuff anymore. It's time for those to go away. We can subsidize that level of football another way. But we don't need to have games that are not consumable. It's ridiculous. So I hope that they continue to watch the NFL, and I hope they continue to try to implement ways that the NFL currently continues to try to grow and excel and get better.
So I want to have a little bit of a conversation of how you would subsidize the next level and make it sustainable. What would need to happen? I also want to hear from our listeners. We have no guests today, so the phones will be open for you. 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX. You can tweet into the show at Mac and Cube. You can text into the show 205-834-9450. What is an ideal scheduling format moving ahead for you? You want to go to 9 SEC games? Are you okay losing some of those non-cons? And I know it doesn't mean as much in this state, but as John could reference to, Georgia Tech maybe being gone, Florida State gone, Kentucky, Louisville being gone, South Carolina, Clemson being gone. I don't think a lot of those fans want that.
No.
And they don't think that would be good. But if you are going to move ahead with some sort of strategic scheduling model with another Power 5 league, where's the room going to be for that game? I mean, there may be some schools that say we're willing to give it up because we're not going to play 11 Power 5 games, whatever it is. We're not going to do that. It's just that's ridiculous.
You don't need to have that many, but let's shrink the regular season schedule.
That's the next point that I was going to bring up that you have made on this show before. Is that day closer than we think? Is that right around the corner? Because I don't think a lot of people have that conversation of we're probably going to lose a game in the regular season. We probably have to lose a game in the regular season soon. I know this. The athletic directors don't want to lose a home game. I know that because that's a lot of cash coming in. And that's a lot of their cash immediately coming in.
Correct.
It's not cash that has to be shared or waited to be distributed. That's yours right now. You get that. So they don't want that. You don't think coaches want home games for recruits?
I don't think they hate having them.
I think that's probably viewed as a bit of an advantage. So there's a lot of what we love about college football that then could be gone. But getting to 9 games also might let us have more of those annual rivalry games inside the league every year that we know we're going to get and less of a rotational schedule. So we'll take your calls. We'll get to your texts. We'll get to your tweets. You give us your feedback on where you want it to go. But there's one place that you need to go for new flooring, Greg, and that is Shannara Flooring.
Shannara Flooring is tremendous. Always appreciate what we receive from them when they come out and take a peek at our home, man. Shannara Flooring's been great. I've been a great relationship with Fu for a while. And I know they're going to take great care of you because if you look at some of the things that they've done by making sure that they always have 40,000 square feet of tremendous flooring from Shaw, it's CoreTech flooring that is in stock today. They're the only company that has it in stock. So if you need it installed today, God forbid, they could do it. These are the very best. They're easy to clean and maintain. They're 100% waterproof, kid-proof, pet-proof. They're flooring that actually bring value to your home, and you can get 12 months financing with approved credit. This is a group that you absolutely want because you want a contractor that has built their business on integrity and on trust. So if you're thinking about making some adjustments to your floors, call Fu. Call them at 205-518-6423. Or you can go online at fuandyou.com.
If your kid happened to find a jackhammer and bring it inside, it can be done today.
You think that doesn't happen, but jackhammers, we have 2 or 3 lying around our garage.
They're just sitting there.
Yeah.
I gotta just plug it in. We will plug in some potential solutions for college football scheduling and get to your feedback on it next. Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you being with us. It is Friday, February 28th, right here on Jocks 94.5. A day away from March, where we will get some good college basketball. Tomorrow morning at noon on ABC, Auburn will be at Kentucky. Number 1 team in the country heads to Rupp with what should be an entertaining game, 3 o'clock on ESPN. Number 6, Alabama, heads to Knoxville to take on number 5, Tennessee, which should be a fascinating game for multiple reasons, not just competitive, but we love contrasts of style games in football. You'll kind of get one here. I mean, this reminds me of an old Big 12 team, Greg, against like some of your Alabama teams, so to speak. Like this is going to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust versus how many times can we throw it and how fast can we go. But that should be an interesting one at 3 tomorrow on ESPN. I'm excited to watch that. And
we got a good weekend of hoops this weekend.
I agree.
I mean, we only got a couple left, obviously, so soak them up while you can get them. But we got a good week this week.
Before we roll back into college football and discuss a little bit more from the scheduling perspective, UAB last night gets to 19-9. So Sunday they'll go for 20 wins. Richard Hendricks actually will be on the call for UAB Memphis Sunday. What time is that game, John? Do you have that?
It is 2:30, 100.5 Jocks 2, tips
okay,
at 3.
Yeah, 3 o'clock tip. I had it right here. I just didn't see it. Richard Hendricks will be on that call, and then he's going to come sit in studio with us for a little while on Monday. So former Alabama basketball player that joins us every Monday thanks to Pizza Pulls on Fanatics Live will actually be in studio with us on Monday as Greg has the day off. So Richard will give us an hour or so in studio and talk some college basketball. But 80-72, UAB gets the win last night, and not one that I would say necessarily had to have, but a good one to get, specifically with Memphis coming to town Sunday. Greg, that's going to be a big one.
Huge.
You mentioned a big weekend of college basketball. That one's going to be fun and massive.
Very, very excited about that. And UAB, AK does such a great job. Really happy with their program that they've been able to carve out and have done an amazing job now. A couple wins away. I think they're in a really good spot to make it to the NCAA tournament if they can obviously take care of business in conference.
They still have a shot at winning the regular season crown.
Yeah.
This win at Memphis will go a long way.
Let's ride.
No double-double for Lindenborg last night, but he had 11 points, 8 boards. 80-72, UAB gets that win. Alejandro Vasquez was great off the bench late in that game. 11-22, had 29 points, got to the rack, knocked down some shots, facilitated things. I had that one on late last night, and he just looked like he had a different gear than everybody else on the floor last night. Sanford back in the win column, 95-83. Bucky McMillan's group gets to 22-8 on the season. Colin Holloway, 24 points last night. The Bulldogs, 6 of 18 from behind the three-point line. VMI turned it over 20 times last night. Sanford, you think about them running and gunning, shooting those threes. They outscored VMI 46-22 in the paint last night. So tomorrow they will be at UNC Greensboro, 3 o'clock. That one on ESPN News if you want to tune in to see the Bulldogs in action tomorrow. And Jacksonville State goes down to Liberty yesterday, 59-55. They shot 36% from the floor, 6 of 23 from 3. Jaron Pierre, who has been lights out for Jacksonville State this season, just 3 of 13 from 3 yesterday. He only had 13 points. This game was 31-16 at the half last night. So Jacksonville State could not get to 20 wins last night. They'll try to do it at FIU tomorrow. So some college basketball from yesterday and college basketball coming up this weekend. Back to college football and some of the scheduling issues that we've talked about. Speaking of scheduling, UAB, their spring showcase, we're going to have to get Coach Dilfer in here to find out exactly what this means. That's going to be April 26th at 11 a.m. right here in Birmingham. So I don't know exactly what the showcase will showcase or have or
Showcase showdown.
But I'm sure that maybe game shows is where we're headed in college football spring events.
Would it surprise you?
No. Football is not something that they seem to have a lot going with right after that. But, okay, we'll see where it is. I mentioned the sort of the middle of college football and sort of where that is. You mentioned finding a different way for that level of football to sort of survive.
Yeah.
Or be able to generate revenue on a consistent basis. How does that happen in your mind?
I think that they just have to get subsidized by the big boys. I think that's the only way. It's not because it doesn't make me, less of a. Maybe I'm just too harsh, but I don't see a scenario where they can continue to get what they get with these money games. The home games are too valuable. They're way too valuable right now. So it's nice. It sounds good on paper. It's great. But do you really think that we're going to be in a position to continue to prop up these teams and give these teams these opportunities and what these home games are worth? I mean, you think they're going to want to share?
No,
probably not.
I know they don't.
So I think there's going to have to be some type of built-in subsidy for the FCS, G5, and D2, D3 levels of football. That's the only, or those programs will just go away.
So I view it as there's going to have to be a way for them to find individual sustainability. And when I say individual, I mean away from most likely the SEC and the Big Ten and where that's headed.
Yep.
I think it has to become a much more nice to have than need to have. And right now it is about a 99% need to have.
Correct.
And that's just, it's going to continue to be stripped down. It's going to be continue to pull away. And at some point in time, it's just not going to be there at all.
At all.
And you're going to look around and say, now what? And I think what that will most likely entail, Greg, is acting on a different platform, so to speak.
Yeah.
Doing things administratively at a different level, not acting as though you want to try and keep up with the Joneses near as much. Like having a new playing field of whether it's scholarships, whether it's revenue distribution, whether it's a different playoff, different going to different conferences, realigning your conference, however that is, whatever that is.
Right.
You've got to find different ways to be able to make it happen on your own. And I think there is some real sustainability there. Is there sustainability that's going to be close to the SEC and the Big Ten? No, I don't believe so. But I do think you could operate in let's just say a different league, so to speak. And then if they want to play each other, great. Have fun. Go for it. If Alabama will give you a game, or Auburn will give you a game, or Florida gives you a game, or USC gives you a game, congratulations. But being right there, fiending every year for being able to get one of those teams on your schedule because you have to have them to meet your budget, I think those days are going to be gone. And it's going to be nice where you do get one of those and say, okay, we can do that stadium renovation now. We can start that, whatever it is. We can build a new weight room.
Yeah.
But I just don't think the annual getting 2 or 3 of those is going to be around much longer. So you have to find a different way to operate to at least a certain extent. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know how that happens.
I just think it has to be subsidies. You have to take a portion of the college football playoff, just a small portion, out of the greater good, out of the goodness of your heart. A small portion of the college football playoff. Like, what's the difference? Like, is Ohio State giving Ohio State $85 million as opposed to $83 million? Is that going to really make that big a difference for them? Probably not, right? I mean, not some drastic change. So I take a little subsidy off the top. Take a percentage of what the big boys are getting and do it in effort to support. They do it now, by the way, with women's sports and with non-revenue generating sports. Like they do it now. So it's not like that's something that would be new or earth shattering. Like non-revenue generating sports, guess what? They take from the pie that football creates. So why wouldn't they just do that at other levels of football? Now you're going to say, well, that's not in the same athletic department. You're right. Yeah. And that could make it challenging.
But think about what we have going right now. You're saying, like when you reference Ohio State, is it going to make that big a difference to share, 2 of our $86 million or 3 of our $89 million? We have athletic directors begging fans for money on social media.
Right.
We have teams that are saying that they have to act different ways, let people go out of their front offices because they need to go find this extra money for these guys. We have coaches in basketball getting on a microphone and speaking to crowds, begging them not to storm the court so they can use that money somewhere else. So if you don't think things are tight, you're just wrong.
No,
you are.
Come on.
We have athletic directors getting on microphones at games, begging fans to just wait 30 seconds or a minute to storm the court so they can use that money somewhere else and not be fined by the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah.
That's happened in the last week, both a coach and an athletic director inside an SEC arena begging fans not to storm the court because they can't afford to lose that money again.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of college football fans think that, you talk about this the way you talk about a billionaire writing a $250,000 check. Like it's not that. It's different.
It'd be great if it was just the billionaire, if you will. It's not. There's a lot more to it, unfortunately.
All All right, a lot of you chiming in on this have ideas on where to go. If you're having some issues with your HVAC, Craig, the one place that you definitely need to go is Polar Bear Services.
Well, they can do a lot of things for you. HVAC's a great place to start. Call them if you have problems there. Weston and the guys are the trained certified experts. Train is the best, and they're the ones that can get it installed, prepared for the summer months that are coming. And it's going to be kind of hot here the last couple of days. It's going to be hot moving forward. So it's not that uncommon to have to get out in front of these things. You don't want it happening when it's June and it's 100. So make sure that your system's running smoothly with a whole home system checkup from Polar Bear Services. They can also help with plumbing, and they can help with your small electrical appliances and electrical across your home. So call them today. I'm telling you, you're going to be glad you did. These guys are the best. Weston is awesome, and you guys will understand exactly what I'm talking about when you take the opportunity to call them. So remember, if you have a problem with your electrical, plumbing, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. That's 497-BEAR.
All right, we'll come back to talk more scheduling. Your feedback, 800-239-9569. You want to get in on the Buyers Hotline, discuss it, you can do that. A lot of folks chiming in via Twitter, at Mac and Cube. You can do that there. We'll continue the conversation next on WJOX. Talking college football scheduling, Friday, February 28th, 7:36 a.m., Jocks 94.5. Listen online, jocksfm.com. Apps in your app store, iPhone, Android, can download that for free. At Mac and Cube, you want to be a part of the show. You can watch the show live every morning on YouTube. Search Jocks945. 800-239-9569. Ideally, what should scheduling look like in college football? And how would the next level of it, if it were the Big Ten and the SEC walking away, be able to find financial stability and sustainability? What would your ideas be for that? A lot of folks chiming in here on our scheduled conversation. We'll go to the Twitter feed, at Mac and Cube. You can be a part there. John from Florence tweets in, scratch the football itch with an exhibition in the spring. They get their check. We get a spring game. There were a lot of folks when I asked the question on social media yesterday, the day before, whenever that was, do you like spring games, that responded to, still don't understand why it can't be an exhibition against a lower tier team, or still don't understand why an FCS team comes in. It's also never going to happen.
It'd be great, though.
Because one thing that coaches have control of in a spring game is it. All of it. Every bit of it.
How bad they look.
And if spring has been really bad, they have ways that they can come out in front of fans and make it look good, or at least a lot better.
And imagine Jack State, for example, going to Auburn and winning the exhibition game. How would summer be on the Plains? Or
I know what the AP poll would look like.
But,
a lot different.
Or, Tennessee Chat beating Tennessee, or
UAB, which they probably would a lot of years, because they would leave their ones in the whole time.
Of course they would. I don't know if they would win.
And Nico's going to get NFL preseason game treatment. He's going to go hand it off 3 times and he's done.
Yeah,
that's what it would be.
It'd be their Super Bowl.
So, and then all of a sudden, their first string guys are still in there, and fourth quarter, whatever it is, late that you have. It's just you get a guy injured in that, and then you look at it and say, would our guy have brought him to the ground that way? Would our guy have taken that hit on him? And the answer is going to be no in your brain. So yes. It's just not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Not likely to happen.
Nick Stone tweets in, VMI might have the worst logo in all of sports, maybe even the world.
What? That's out of left field.
Well, we referenced that Samford beat VMI last night. And I will say it's not one that's very, it doesn't catch your attention in a real positive way.
Good colors.
But it does bring up the question, what is the worst logo in sports? And this will be different when we go down the list of, is it just going to be professional teams? Are we going to go colleges? Like the Washington Commanders is not great. I can confidently say that. Well, yeah, but just
nothing to it.
The Oklahoma City Thunder logo, I do think, is one that is not very appealing.
The Hartford Whalers.
Hockey has a couple that I would not have towards the top of my list. Just the Jags have always been one that I thought was not good.
What about this one? The original Denver Bronco logo.
It's better than the
it looks like a jellyfish.
Seattle Seahawks ripoff one that they went with. The John Elway Super Bowl logo, atrocious. Get that thing out.
LA Rams are the worst.
The new Rams?
Yeah. Dumb.
I think the Rockies are terrible, which part of that I think is like the colors with some glitter that they've tried to throw into it doesn't help a whole lot. That's one that I would look at and have towards the top of the list of bad logos.
The Brooklyn Nets are brutal.
I'll push back on that a little bit. You think the Hartford Whalers are bad? Is that the one you said was bad?
Yes.
What about when the Browns break out that elf guy and put him on the field?
That's a tough one, too.
It's not ideal.
Tough one, for sure. Gosh, there's some bad ones. Detroit Pistons. Ugh. Atlanta Hawks. Ugh. I forgot they still had a team.
Do what? They won like 9 straight earlier this year, if not more.
How many people were watching? If a tree falls in the woods.
Hawks are 27-32.
Heck yeah.
They're in the playoffs right now. By the way, in the Eastern Conference, you have 4 teams slated to make the playoffs below 500.
Love that.
That's what a midseason tournament does for you.
Miami Heat, best NBA logo? Besides the Lakers, probably.
It's a good one.
I like Portland, too.
Portland's strong. I mean, the NBA for a couple of bad ones like the Cavs, has some really good ones. Like
they got a bunch
the
of good
Bucks
ones.
the Bucks a strong logo. The Bulls strong logo.
Bulls really strong. Boston Celtics
Very
really
strong. Yes.
Love the Knicks.
Kings terrible.
No, you can have the Kings.
I think the Nuggets is solid. Grizz solid. Suns great. Spurs I think is great.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're the Minnesota
I think
Timberwolves
NBA has most. I think if you were to take most of the logos, like NBA might have collectively the best group of logos. Better than the NFL for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I think the Pelicans is not great. I think if you're the T-Wolves or the Mavs,
terrible.
If you're the T-Wolves or the Mavs and your marketing department has not gone back to the table, considering that just by first glance, your two logos look close enough to where that should be an automatic change for one or the other, you got problems. The Wizards, I would say not terrible. The Raptors, 76ers are strong.
76ers real strong.
Magic, not bad. So we have, 5 that are bad in the NBA?
Yeah.
Okay, NFL, Buffalo legit, Dolphins legit. Patriots, go back to Pat Patriot.
Patriots are good.
Jets, I don't hate it. I'm fine with it. Cowboys legit. Giants needs to go back to the 80 script. Eagles legit. Commanders, blah.
Commanders bad.
Bengals solid. Browns, how can the Browns not be solid? It's the actual helmet that they wear. Steelers great. Bears great. Lions great. Packers great. Vikings great. Texans, meh.
Texans terrible.
Colts, solid. Jags, atrocious. Titans, gross. Falcons, good. Panthers need a reboot. Saints, amazing.
You're
Bucks,
going too fast.
Great.
You're going too fast.
We don't have much time in the segment.
Titans may be the worst.
Titans, Jags. This is maybe what we should do for March Madness is just have logo battles. We have logo brackets through all the
Buccaneers are terrible.
Rams,
terrible.
The Buccaneers are not terrible.
Rams terrible.
The Rams updated logo is bad.
It's
Raiders
terrible.
Incredible. Raiders is like top 5 in all of sports.
Raiders the best.
Chiefs legit. Chargers legit.
Chargers fine. Yeah.
What?
Good.
Niners solid. Seahawks, I'm fine.
Lions stink.
Cardinals, what else could you really do?
Cardinals stinks. Panthers stinks.
The Panthers are right there with they're in the Final Four with the Jags and Titans as worst. I guess
Falcons terrible.
No, Falcons is not terrible.
Terrible.
It's not.
It's awful.
It isn't. It could be so much worse.
It could be worse, but it's not good.
It could be a lot worse.
It could be worse, but it's not good.
All right, we're going to count up the atrocious logos in the NBA and the NFL, and then we'll discuss Major League Baseball on the other side next, right here on Jocks 94.5. 7:48 Friday, February 28th on Jocks 94.5. Worst logo in sports. We'll continue that conversation in just a moment. I have my terribles from the NBA, the NFL. We haven't necessarily had that conversation as far as Major League Baseball is concerned just yet. You can text the show 205-834-9450, tweet in at Mac and Cube. If you want to join us on the Buyers Right hotline, 800-239-9569. You guys have heard us talk about Andrew Sports Medicine, what they could potentially do for you. I can speak to it personally. Operated on me multiple times, operated on my wife, operated on other members of my family. There's a reason Auburn Athletics hand-selected Andrew Sports Medicine's Dr. Benton Emblem and Dr. Charles Pitts to serve as their team physicians. They provide the highest quality of sports medicine care in an effort to keep the Tiger student-athletes safe, healthy, and competing at the highest level. If Andrew Sports Medicine is the choice for Auburn Athletics, there's no doubt they should be your family's number one choice for sports medicine and orthopedic care. Andrew Sports Medicine, 7 locations across central Alabama from Birmingham, Coleman, Gardendale, Hoover, Pelham, and Trussville. They offer same-day, next-day appointments for acute sports injuries. Visit andrewsportsmedicine.com today to begin your journey of achieving victory over injury. You guys just give me a final thumbs up, thumbs down on where I went with the terrible category for the NBA and the NFL. Cavs, Pelicans, Clippers, Raptors. Those are my terrible logos in the NBA.
Cavs, Pelicans,
Clippers, Raptors. This new Clippers, we have
The boat.
we have the Royal cruise ship in our sights, and we're going to blow it out of the water thing, whatever that is. No, it's just a no, is all it is. Honestly,
you have to know what a Clipper is.
I would debate the T-Wolves and Mavs because they somewhat resemble each other to certain extents that they are both terrible. The Kings, I feel like could easily have been here. I don't know if we have enough passion to put the Kings in the terrible list.
Passion.
But it's not great. I'm going to add the Kings, actually. I feel like they deserve to be in there. It's just,
New Orleans by
logo.
a mile. That's the worst logo I've ever seen.
New Orleans is in here. Yeah. The Clippers giving them a run for the money.
Cavaliers right there, too.
I mean, Clippers trying to come up with a logo like my daughter wrote it, and I just don't know what we're going for here. It just doesn't work. Okay, so the NFL, terrible logos in our terrible category, and I know we're going to have one or two that goes with a different, but collectively we can agree. Jags, Titans,
yes.
Why are
Rams,
the Titans bad?
Rams.
because it's stupid.
How?
Because it's dumb. It's a T.
It's
And
a sword. It's a
Titans-
sword T with blue flames coming off of it.
Yeah. What is a Titan? Tell me what a Titan is.
A truck,
Right.
That's a Nissan Titan.
but it's that.
Right. Yeah, that's asked and answered.
Anyone on what a Titan is?
They were greater than even the gods, according to Coach Yost.
That's true. It was a good movie.
Yeah, it's sorry. It's going to be 3-1. Everybody
It's
else is
also
voting
a
me down.
Right, yeah.
It's also a submersible.
Is everyone well?
Those
Technically.
have not had a good run. lately.
Technically, it will stay submerged.
It was submersed. Mission accomplished as far
Yeah.
as submerging itself.
But we're going 3-1 on Titans, correct?
Sure.
Probably 3.5 to half, but yeah.
He's the one arguing it. So, Rams collectively we're in. Terrible.
Not even close. The worst.
It's dumb.
Texans, bad. It's bad. Texans is bad.
Texans is second worst.
Panthers is awful.
Terrible.
I don't need to even ask about that. I
Good
don't care
colors
what
though.
anybody
That's
says.
the only problem I
That's
have
the
with the
thing.
Panthers. Like they got good colors, so like that bails them
You
out.
got to
a little
get
bit.
rid of the glitter helmet. It's so 70s. Why are you doing that now? I would personally have the Patriots in.
Oh no.
No?
Patriots is fine.
It's just compared to what it could be, it's awful.
Okay, here we go.
If you guys don't think it's bad,
I don't think it's bad.
we won't put it in. Okay, so we have Jags, Titans, Rams, Texans, Panthers. Anybody want to add another one that feels like they feel passionately needs to be in that terrible category?
All right, stand by. Let's go.
You had like half
You
that
said
you thought were
Commanders.
terrible.
Commanders, right?
I'm not as passionate that it needs to be in the terrible list.
Ravens terrible.
What?
Yeah, terrible.
I'm
Cardinals.
Not, I'm
What's
not,
wrong
I'm
with
not,
birds? Like,
Cardinals terrible.
there's only so much you can do there. I'm not putting those in. Like I said, you had half the league, so we can't just go by your list or else it's going to be never ending. I think you could sit there and convince yourself every logo is terrible, except the Cowboys.
No, that's not true. I like the Steelers logo. I love the Steelers logo. Love the Steelers. Love the Cowboys. Love the Bears. Love the
Raiders.
Love the Raiders.
Chiefs.
Love the Saints. The Saints are perfect. It's got to be
Saints
synonymous.
is top 3.
Yes, it's got to be synonymous with their top.
So what's wrong with the Buccaneers?
The Buffalo Bills is top 3
Bills
for
is
me
up there.
for sure. I think top 3 for me are Cowboys, Bills, Raiders, followed closely by Saints and Bears.
Okay.
Actually, followed closely by Saints and Steelers. Those are my top.
I would actually have Broncos in the bottom. It's terrible also.
Yes, I think Broncos is terrible.
John
Terrible
Damian,
colors.
does Broncos, does that go to the terrible category?
Seahawks terrible.
I don't think terrible.
I don't think Seahawks is terrible.
Giants current.
Okay, we'll leave the Broncos out. I would rather have the 80 script Giants logo, but I'm not going to, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
It doesn't belong in terrible category.
Yeah.
Okay, we haven't gone to Major League Baseball yet.
Oh gosh.
Brewers terrible.
I mean, number one's Marlins, no matter what. And the colors don't help. I think that's a big part of it. There's just not a lot you can do there. The Nats have to go in. I'm sorry. You can't just, it's not a good look. The Guardians are going in.
Nats.
Yeah. Guardians are going in. It's
The
terrible.
thing that
It's
the
awful.
Guardians replaced was one of the best too. Indians was one of the best.
Just the logo.
Yes.
The logo
Yeah.
just
It was
itself was
amazing.
awesome. It was
It was
incredible.
iconic.
So good.
I said earlier Rockies that deserves to be in there. Those are the 4 that I definitively say are in, no matter what. I could offer you up Rays.
Yeah, Rays are in there.
We'll see what the group thinks about that though. Rays deserve to be in terrible category.
Yeah,
Okay, that's 1 vote.
Yeah.
in.
Okay.
Kind of indifferent about it, but
And then Arizona Diamondbacks.
Eh,
no, I like Arizona.
You can
Not
have
put
them.
him in.
I would put they're good.
Kansas City.
no, Kansas City's legit. We're not going against that.
You can have
That's
that.
beautiful.
Yeah, you can have
The
that.
uniforms are beautiful. The logo's legit. We're not going against it. Sorry.
I'm looking at the hat logos. I feel like I need to look at the actual like logos.
Well, that's. I mean, there are sort of multiple with some, so you could debate back and forth between each.
Let's do the best first.
I will say this: one that most people probably would not be on board with, but I think should be there. I think the Mariners logo is terrible. But I understand that people like it, and the colors are cool, and they had the
I don't
Griffies in the
mind it.
'90s,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
Again, I said I think most people would not agree, but I personally think the Mariners logo is dumb.
I think the Pirates hat logo is amazing. The pirate with the actual pirate.
Well, the Pirates
Base.
hat logo is the P.
Yeah, exactly. If we're going just straight hat logo, super fire. And that
We're not going with like City Connect logo here. I mean,
I'm looking at the logos here. I'm just don't.
yeah, there are a couple ways to look at it, but I will say this: I think Major League Baseball has more definitive home runs, no pun intended, as far as logos that you can never debate than any other sport.
I don't know. Basketball is pretty good. But baseball is a lot of these are just timeless.
Like Orioles, Yankees, Blue Jays, even White Sox now, I think has become somewhat iconic. Pirates, Cardinals, Phillies. You're not going against those.
Rangers are terrible.
Angels is legit. Dodgers, Padres.
Rangers terrible.
And what's like Detroit is, and what's weird is it's just letters and birds. The Cubs is amazing.
Yeah, they're all good. It's solid. Worst are Rockies, Brewers.
See, I don't think the Brewers is terrible.
Really?
It's a glove and a ball.
It's just not a good
Yeah, but
look.
who catches it in the palm like that?
It happens every now and then.
It's gonna hurt.
When I try to break my 4-year-old's glove in, I catch a lot of them right there. Back with more right after this. All right, you are chiming in on best worst logos. And then some of these are hard because they have been updated. They have changed over time. We were talking about the Orioles during the break. Like they had a run where it didn't look great. What they've gone to now, which is kind of an OG logo, is amazing. And there are certain people chiming in that, the Marlins need to be on there. And some of the other, like, I would say this. In baseball, Cleveland, and in football, Washington, you went from top 3, top 5 in all of sports. You will automatically be bottom 5 because of what you did. It's just, I'm not going to be able to allow it. I can't do it.
It's not.
Those two logos were incredible.
Indians was my favorite. Indians was right there, seriously, with Yankees, Dodgers, Cubs.
I mean, when you have the best sports comedy ever made as a big part of your logo, it makes it just that much more iconic.
Ever made?
Best
Right,
sports
next
comedy?
topic.
Best
9
sports
o'clock,
comedy.
Best sports comedy.
Actually, we can do it at 8:09 if you would like. I don't feel like the terrible logos is going to take us too much further here.
All right, perfect. 8:06.
College would go a long way. I mean, we could come up with some bad ones. Alex Page tweets in, you all going to rate college logos next? If so, what are your thoughts on at Cal football going with the C on the hats last year for the coach's sideline gear? I loved it.
Just
I thought
trying
it was
too hard.
awesome.
No one knows who they are. I like the regular Cal with the script.
The Cal script's not bad, but I thought it was a good look and a little bit of a good change up.
Who knows who this C is?
N and
It
H.
could have been Colgate for all I know. And I'm in the business.
Well, if you were dialed into
have
the
been
business, you would
Clemson.
know that those colors don't operate.
Well, you also would know that, like, Clemson, if I was watching for whatever reason on black and white television, I would think it was Clemson. Justin Wilcox is coaching Clemson. Or Colorado.
I don't think Clemson's ever gone with like the block C.
Yeah, they
like
have.
that. Not to that extent, I don't believe.
I don't care.
N&H tweets in, Braves legit. That's fine. I mean, that's,
that was coming.
yeah.
Oh, gosh. I'm just glad they're getting acknowledged before October.
Big Corgi Boss tweets in, best logo in uniform in sports, Tulane. The updated Tulane logo
The Fighting
is strong.
Wave?
It's strong.
The Fighting Wave's a good
It's
one.
really good. But they had their moments for long periods of time that it was not good. But it is now. And the color scheme that they've sort of altered to, which bringing out different colors a little bit more than the others, it's really good too.
Yes.
Stephen Madrid at Mac and Cube, just a month removed from football games, and we're talking about logos. Going to be a long off season. We'll turn the damn channel then. Go somewhere else. I really don't care.
You can go talk about Doge with our friends at 99.5.
Yeah, I'm sure they're having a great conversation about gas tax down there. Enjoy it.
Why do you love gas tax? Why is that always your go-to?
The price of eggs then. There you go.
Well, that
Go talk about the price of eggs down there. Be a good convo.
pretty tough.
Enjoy it. We accidentally rolled into this. It was a fun conversation, and we were going to keep it going. We sit there. We talked about where college football is going for 45 minutes the first hour of the show. But we're mad because we've rolled into an accidental logo conversation for 7 minutes.
Who was it
Uncle
that said
Phil?
this?
We?
We're having fun. Man.
Okay, Greg, let's go into Alabama's guard situation for 2025. Get an idea of what it looks like. What do you think about the tight end position for the Tide this year, Greg?
I don't know.
No, that's what people want, though. Let's get into it.
There's plenty
What
of
do you think
places.
Alabama's run pass balance going to look like this year, Greg?
I don't know. We could probably go. Let's just go get on Bama Online and just read the message boards.
Why wouldn't we?
That's where the real insight is.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
How's quarterback competition looking down there, Greg?
Well, considering they're about 3 weeks into the off-season program.
Yeah, but it's off. We're not. It's off. We can't have off-season conversations. We got to dial in football. Come on.
No, I think we'll
What's
be
the
all
weight
right.
room looking
Let's
like?
go.
They moving some.
Come on.
They chewing
think-
some steel.
Who's
in there.
winning the 300-yard shuttle so far?
I think
Let's
we'll
go.
be all right. I like the logo
Me
conversation.
too.
Who's got their hand in the TAFE in the off-season program in the indoor?
All I got to say is our off-season
How much
topic-
weight's Ryan Williams put on, Greg?
Well, he's 18 now, so you got to think he's getting some of that
Grown
grown
man
man in him.
weight.
You're getting that grown
Yeah.
man weight now.
Exactly.
You got to be careful what you eat when you turn 18.
Is Ryan Williams' route distribution going to be different this year?
Got to be better.
Has
Gotta
Caden
be
Proctor's
better.
kick set improved so far in the offseason?
I don't know if you can just rep your kick set against air,
You feel like Cam Dewberry's an automatic starter?
plug and
Are we
play,
going to have a battle at left guard?
plug and play.
How's Brailsford looking? Does he put some more weight on?
No, he's good at 290.
Got it. Okay. Keelan Russell, chance to start coming in as a freshman?
Probably not.
No. Come on, we got to find some more conversation around this. It's going to be a long offseason, guys. We got to dial into the football. LT Overton going to be more versatile on that defensive line this year?
I teased the listeners at 8:06 we talk about best sports comedies. So we got
I think I pushed it to 9. We got 4 more minutes
slide.
of this. 4 more minutes of this.
I don't understand. I don't really understand where the hatred for some of these logos comes from.
As in,
Everyone can relate to this topic.
Right.
Everyone.
You hate birds.
it's gonna be a long off season.
Like you don't like the bird logos.
Well, good news is there's plenty of places where you can get football conversation.
Wait till we go to
every day.
NHL. What the puck? When we get that conversation.
We're
going.
about a month away from NHL full time. Maybe we can break down the 2-3 zone. That's what people really want to talk about.
In hockey or football or basketball.
We can shoot them out of it. We can shoot them out of it.
Shoot
They
more,
can't
score
stay-
more.
They can't stay in it.
2-3 zone in football is inside zone.
I do feel like hockey is hit or miss. I feel like it's either iconic or terrible.
Man, I couldn't tell you.
Oh, what? You hadn't seen the tape?
About to say.
Yeah, but
Because I think you go.
Surprise of the year. Damien, not a hockey fan. Okay, sounds good.
I think you
Shocked
go.
by that.
You go.
Nobody in this part of the world, for the most part, unless they're a transplant, is a diehard hockey fan.
All right, I'm gonna go.
Maplesville's not known for their hockey consumption.
nah, dog.
Y'all are close enough to Pelham. We got the ice complex over there.
Yeah, they do.
Y'all are what, half hour from there?
A little bit more, but not too far.
All right. Speaking of, I really do think I want to take the kids to a hockey game this year.
You should.
They start at 7 though. That's the tricky part. Like
No,
I really
think
want
it's
to take them.
7:30 actually, because I've looked into it. They had the MLK game at 1, and we couldn't make it that day. So we've been trying to go. It's tough. That's a late.
It's a commitment.
Ice drop or
Puck drop.
Puck
Yeah,
drop.
it's not.
Here's my
kickoff.
problem with it. Like,
Slap
if I'm
shot
going to
off.
make that type of commitment, I might as well just go to Tuscaloosa and take them to a basketball game. That's been my challenge. Like, I want to take the kids to a hockey game, but like at the same time, I can almost just, go to Tuscaloosa.
Mhm.
Go
And guess what? For an extra 90
make it
minutes,
a weekend in Nashville.
extra 90 minutes, I can go to Nashville.
Go for it.
Like,
But I do think when you look down, it's Bruins, Red Wings, Sabres, Flyers, Penguins, Blackhawks.
Blackhawks are good.
Blackhawks might be the best.
Blackhawks are good.
Kings,
Kings
all
are all right.
super legit. And then I think there's good, maybe not elite, like the Calgary Flames, the New Jersey Devils.
A lot of people don't like Calgary, but I think it's throwback.
I don't think it's one of the best, but I don't hate it. I think Tampa Bay Lightning, for what you are, it's okay. Maple Leafs is legit.
Maple
That's
Leafs,
strong.
I mean, it's just traditional.
And then you
Capitals are terrible.
don't need it. I
Columbus
feel like,
Blue Jackets
I feel like
terrible.
Ottawa is awful. I feel like Florida is awful. Hurricanes,
My Ducks terrible.
Columbus, you're right, is bad. It's not good. It's not a good one. St.
Vegas
Louis
Gold-
Blues isn't terrible.
Vegas Golden Knights terrible.
I think Nashville needs a whole logo reboot. Just the whole thing. The whole city needs a logo reboot. I know y'all love the Preds and all, but that logo's not good. You can't tell me it's good. It isn't.
It was good 25 years ago when they started.
I will say I don't really like it that much, but the Colorado Avalanche logo is pretty good. Yeah, it's
How do
not
you feel
bad.
about the Seattle Kraken?
You just ripped off the Mariners and didn't put the compass on it.
I think
I'm
it's
sorry.
terrible.
It's not good. It isn't. You just
It's
took you took
terrible.
the compass off the Mariners logo, and then you know how like now you can zoom in and zoom out and it stretches your photo like
Yeah.
one way or the other? They basically just did that. Like they compressed it and took the compass out, and that's the same thing.
The best
I'm no.
The best ones are definitely St. Louis Blues.
Golden Knights corny. You look like a minor league
Yeah, you can
baseball
have that
team.
one. The best ones are St. Louis Blues, Chicago Blackhawks, Detroit Red Wings, New York Islanders, and New York Rangers. Those are your 5 best.
Minnesota Wild, I'm out.
Minnesota Wild's kind of cool.
No, it
the
isn't.
way they
No,
made
it
it.
isn't.
They
It's
made
not.
like a wolf out of a
Trees.
sunset. It's kind of cool, but like I
It's
think
corny.
it's trying too hard.
It's corny.
I'm glad you described it because I'm sitting here looking at the logos like,
You- like, what is
which
that?
One,
Yeah.
Which one you talking about?
Yeah.
It is. It's very different when you see one at full size on your screen and then you see it in the standings. Those sometimes can be very different logos.
How do you feel
That's
about
one
San
of them.
Jose Sharks?
You look at that in the standings and you're like, man, that's awful. And then you look at it when it's full screen, you're like, well, it's not as bad, but it's still not good.
How do you feel about San Jose Sharks?
It's almost kind of timeless now.
Yeah.
It's the one thing with hockey is it's either old school, serious, super legit, or it's Disney.
How do you feel about
Like it's San Jose Sharks or Disney.
do you like the Penguins?
Avalanche, Disney. Columbus Blue Jackets, Disney. Mighty Ducks, obviously Disney. But
What
it's like we either went pretend or never mess with us again as long as you live, as far as hockey logos are concerned.
What about Penguins?
Oh, let's get out of here. It's one of the all-time greats.
You love it, don't you?
It's a penguin playing hockey.
Who
How can
skates
you
like
not
that? Who skates like that?
Mario Lemieux and Sidney Crosby. That's where they got it from. They took a picture of Lemieux and made it. CGI.
Why is his rear foot so high? The Ottawa
because
Senators.
he is moving. He's skating like 32 miles an hour.
The Ottawa Senators, terrible. How do you feel about the Oilers? You like the Oilers? It's pretty fire. I mean, it's old school as can be.
I'm fine with it. I don't.
Dallas Stars used to be one of the best. Now it's terrible.
It's Disney now, basically. The Wild is Disney. Now, the Utah Hockey Club, I will say, if you're coming into a sport with so much tradition and so much history, at least you didn't come in and try way too hard.
Right.
I mean, I feel like they came in and said, we're gonna keep this thing simple. We're not gonna screw it up. And I actually am a fan of it. I'm fine with it.
The Vancouver Canucks are terrible.
It's not one of my favorites.
Yeah. Which one is that?
It's the one with like a whale and a sea.
Okay.
It's one, and once again, when you look at it in the standings, it looks terrible. And you look at it up close and you're like, I see where you were going, but I'm still not a fan of it.
It's terrible.
Here's what works.
Canadiens
Here's
is
what
good.
works against some of the mid-level logos in hockey is that the top 4 or 5 are so good.
Yes.
It's
Agreed.
kind of like baseball. You get the top 8 or 9 are so good that even the other ones that are acceptable cannot compare to the ones that are so good. And that's where I think you live.
Now, what's your top 5?
Of what? Hockey?
Hockey.
Flyers, Penguins in no order. Bruins. Red Wings has got to be in there.
Has to be.
Maple Leafs has to be in there. So it's tough to do 5 because I think they have probably 7 or 8 really good ones.
Blues doesn't do it for you.
It's good. I don't know if it's Blackhawks are in there. All
Yeah.
right, so Red Wings, Maple Leafs, Blackhawks have to be in no matter what. 100%. They're
Red
in.
Wings,
Lock.
Maple Leafs, Blackhawks. Okay.
I think Penguins. I really
All
think
right.
the Flyers is really good. I'll go Flyers, Penguins.
Wow.
Rangers is good.
Rangers great.
I think hockey. If you're selecting the top 5, hockey might be my most difficult.
Ooh, love that.
So who did I miss? Who should be in that I didn't have in?
I think I'm definitely good with Blackhawks, Bruins, Red Wings. Have to have those. Like Red Wings is iconic, absolutely iconic for Detroit.
For hockey in general, I think.
100%. It's just iconic. Those 3 are absolute locks. Next up, probably some combination of Rangers, Penguins. But I could easily go Penguins, Montreal Canadiens too.
Okay.
The Canadiens is
I'm out on
super
Canadians.
throwback.
I don't think it's terrible, but I don't put it on the level with those others.
But it's like hating Alabama's football uniforms or Penn State's football uniform. You just can't do that.
Well, there can be different reasons.
You don't have to like them. I'm just saying
Right.
you can't. You have
Can't
to
hate 'em.
acknowledge the tradition.
Can hate them and still find them,
I mean, they've been
Good
wearing the
looking.
same uniforms, literally the same uniforms since like 1910.
So how hard would your top 5 in baseball be if you had to select it?
All right, let's go back to baseball. Hang on.
Yankees,
Yankees,
Dodgers.
Dodgers are lock.
they're in. Cubs are in.
for sure.
That would be 3.
Yankees,
I think
Dodgers,
right now-
Cubs lock.
I think right now Orioles are in at 4.
No mention of athletics.
Yankees, Dodgers, Cubs.
Las Vegas needs to reset about as bad as Nashville does with their logos outside of the Raiders, but that's just they accidentally stumbled upon that one.
Mine are pretty easy. Yankees, Dodgers, Cubs, Boston, and the Giants. Those are my top 5 in baseball.
Or probably have. God, you know what's an underrated logo in baseball is the Twins.
It's solid,
It's good.
but they're a poor franchise, so I can't give them.
I
any
might
credit.
actually go with. I might actually go Baltimore and then the Mets at 5.
I like Mets.
Yeah, I've always liked the
Mets are good.
Mets is strong.
The
It's
orange
really
in
strong.
baseball pops for whatever reason. Like you got Orioles and Mets, like it just pops to me. I like
Giants.
Giants a little better than Mets. 'Cause I like
Padres
the
will
black.
put a little orange in their uniforms. Sometimes
Padres, they're like
Orioles.
them incorporating brown the way they have recently is just so good.
they're the every major league franchise, not just major league, but professional franchise, should look at how the Padres handled their uniform reboots of taking classic portions of why it was once good and then terrible for a very long time and making it great. They have, and now listen, a lot of these teams have their alternates that are just not good. When they go with like the teal color splash, whatever they want to call them, weekend out of town uniforms, they're awful. But the majority of what San Diego has brought back have been awesome. Same thing with the Orioles. Great for a time, made it terrible for a minute, and have brought it back and made it beautiful once again. Now, Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers never had that problem. It's pretty much been the same forever. Like Cubs, they never really messed with it, and it's always been great.
Yeah.
Like Atlanta, when they bring back the Hank Aaron uniforms, those are friggin' awesome. But don't live and die with that. So the others, meh.
Is it Dodgers, Yankees 1-2 though by a mile?
I'd have them flipped, but yeah.
Oh, either way, whatever way you
I don't
have
think
it.
there's the only other team that's close to that is the Cubs.
Yes, I would agree. Nothing. I mean, Dodgers, Yankees by a mile in whatever order you want to have
I do
it
think
in.
Cardinals need to be in the conversation. That is a iconic logo also.
Except it's a bird and it's dumb.
Yeah, we know you've established today you hate birds.
That.
Yes.
Well, that's because they're basically, if you want to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole, birds are just spies for the government.
Of course they are. Yeah.
Oh, this is about this time last year.
It was. Combine last year. We had a certain tight end tell us that birds were robots.
Yeah. Which is honestly, come on, man. Like, let's I mean, I'm all for like a good conspiracy theory about like, going to the moon and stuff, but like, come on, man. Like, you really think birds are.
By the way, that's a lot of robots. That is a lot of robots. It's about mass
everywhere.
production.
Yeah.
Walk outside every morning. Robots everywhere.
Everywhere.
And when the weather starts to warm up, the ton of them coming down this way.
Well, if the robots would start giving us more eggs, we need more eggs because there's a shortage right now.
Somebody's got to hit the reboot. You got to restart the computer every now and then. It needs a hard shutdown. How difficult would your top 5 be in football?
Mine's not that difficult. I don't feel like for football. Football is pretty simple for me.
See, let me ask you this though, because here's where some things get a little bit tough. Like when I say Bears, what's your logo?
The C.
Yeah, because like you look at, but they do have the actual bear. That's also a pretty strong logo as well. So
Really?
some of them, oh yeah, like go look at the standings.
Oh yeah, that one's not bad. Yeah, it's super.
It's
throwback.
also good.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
yeah, not bad.
God,
top five for NFL: Cowboys 1, Raiders 2, or vice versa. Good with either one. Doesn't really matter. Raiders to me is just iconic. I love it. Absolutely love it. Bills 3, Steelers 4, and then this last one's tough. Probably Saints 5.
Saints be 2 for me. Raiders, Saints, Steelers, Cowboys, and then it's I could go a lot of different directions with 5 depending on the day.
Titans?
Absolutely not.
Disrespect.
I mean, believe it or not, I might go Vikings.
Vikings good.
Iconic.
Vikings good.
And they kind of have a double whammy of just the helmet logo is awesome, and like the Viking face is also awesome. Like they kind of double down.
Yeah. Plus the swag that you get with Darnold and Kirk Cousins as your last 2 starters.
But I mean, like
Swag.
Chiefs, Chargers, Bills. Like, oh man, that's tough. There's some other
Chiefs
really
before
good ones.
Mahomes were the corniest. They were the corniest. But now that they have Mahomes, they're fire.
No, dude, no.
Yes.
They're Christian Okoye, Derek Thomas. The Chiefs have been badass
Trent Green.
many times in our life.
Priest
Yep.
Holmes.
Alex Smith,
Larry Johnson,
Matt Castle.
Tyler Palco.
the human joystick,
Tyler Thigpen.
Dante Hall. I mean, Tony Gonzalez. Like, don't act like the Chiefs have, like all of a sudden just arrived when Mahomes got there.
They did.
Cut it out.
That's you make fun of Damian for not addressing sports before 2000,
I'm
and
sorry,
then you say
was-
things like that.
How many Super Bowls did they have before Mahomes arrived?
I don't care.
They had
If
1.
we're talking about logos and uniforms looking good and guys who made them look good. Derek Thomas was one of them.
Yeah, he
Christian
was good.
Okoye, he wore offensive lineman pads playing running back, and it worked.
Built different.
Did it?
Yeah, I did.
How many
I would
career yards
like
did
to
Christian
introduce you
Okoye have?
to a couple collisions that he had. I can send you the YouTube clips in the break.
Let's look up Christian Okoye stats real quick. Just for a second.
Here he comes. Now, see, listen, he'll shift his
Christian
argument
Okoye-
to Cal Ripken Jr.
Christian
career
Okoye.
and say, well, he didn't play 57 seasons, so it doesn't count.
Christian Okoye, 79 career games, 6 years, ran for 3.9 per carry.
And
In a big shoulder pad.
Must have been a great
we'll
player.
we'll give you those on 3 consecutive downs, and I feel like we're going to have first downs live.
First down.
If you go over the course of his 17 game average,
Why don't you go by season?
We'll go by season. 660 yards, 473 yards, 1,480. He had one good year in 1989.
He also split the backfield with Barry Word for a little while.
Barry who?
Word.
Must have been so good.
Go do your homework.
He's so big and so physical that
He ran himself into the ground.
he must have been so good that splitting it with a guy.
He had 1,000 yards in 91 also.
Let me tell you who didn't split carries.
That?
Can I tell you who didn't split carries? Good backs.
Really?
This was 1990.
Like who? Thurman Thomas?
Toting that thing.
When
Yeah.
he split it with Kenneth Davis?
How many carries did Kenneth Davis get compared to Thurman Thomas? Emmett Smith, Barry Sanders. This is 1990. This is
You're
not.
telling me he didn't split carries with Moose Johnson?
What's next? You're going to try to tell me that LT and Natrone means split carries?
A little bit, yeah.
You are a bona fide clown.
Who was the little scat back that San Diego brought in?
Sproles?
Yeah, Sproles took some of those from LT.
There you go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Took some from
Yep.
LT.
Change up back.
All right, now we're on the same page.
Change up.
Sounds good.
Yep.
You guys
Who was
are
the fullback that played for the Titans that went to play for Hester? Got some carries out there. Split those up.
That's right. There you go.
And then the fullback that was with the Titans, 41, that went to San Diego also. He would break your face mask. I seriously don't think he ever actually carried the football. But yeah.
Lorenzo Neal.
Lorenzo Neal. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, he was
That dude, that he's Hall of Famer. He was a monster.
He'll crush you.
Banging.
Absolutely. Okay, so now that we have to move into sports comedies or real football talk so we don't lose more listeners.
Sports comedies.
Okay. So
Nobody cares about football anymore.
I disagree.
No. Nobody
Captain
cares.
Ron
It's
tweets in,
done.
I nominate Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing for both worst name and worst logo. I haven't seen the tape.
Roush Fenway Keselowski.
That's what he said.
Well,
Roush
Yeah.
Fenway Keselowski Racing. There it is. That's not a good one. That looks like a place that I bought speakers from in 1996. For
it
my
also
car.
sounds like a place where I need to get litigation advice.
Maybe. Here you go. That's the logo. Tell me that you didn't go there to get a car alarm for your 1985 Blazer.
First of
And
all,
have an automatic start put in
Is it-
1996.
Looks like a Need for Speed
I thought
logo.
RFK was the director of Health and Human Services.
That logo right
Junior.
there is where I went to get a 6-disc changer put in my middle console in 1998.
Did Skip?
No, because it was a changer. No, you're good. That's where I got an amplifier and 215s in my trunk in 1999. Right there, RFK went in there.
Didn't see no wires. And then I heard boom from the amplifiers.
That was it.
Yeah, you know.
That's what that logo looks like. That is terrible. I would agree with Captain Ron.
Yeah, that is a bad one for sure. But the
Tyler
good news
Blevins
is
tweets in, can you
either-
do
can
hour
either
3 on
watch
just
them-
minor league baseball logos? Which, by the way, there are a lot of wins.
There's a lot of good ones.
There's a lot of wins. in
I think minor league baseball logos might be the best.
Collectively, I think we would find a harder time finding the 5 worst in minor league baseball, and that's all 3-4 levels of it, than we would any of the pro sports.
I'll be
'cause
honest
so
with
many
you,
of them are
I
so
think
good.
the Chattanooga Lookouts might be my number one meme that I send. But just the eyes.
I love-
Literally. I mean, I might
They
just
did
do the
steal
eyes.
that. They did steal that.
100%.
I just realized that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
dude, the
stolen
eyes.
logo.
I mean, I send that GIF and meme or whatever the heck it is, emoji,
That's
all
hilarious.
the time. Chattanooga Lookouts.
Now I
number
will
one
say
fan.
the New Orleans baby cakes, bottom 5. It's awful. You agree, John? As a New Orleanite,
Not pleasant to look
What about
at.
the Huntsville Pandas?
The Trash Pandas.
it's not a terrible logo. It's not.
And it's Rocket City.
I'm not a fan of playing football there, but it's not a terrible logo.
Why not? Why don't you like football there?
One direction, baby.
I think football should be played at football stadiums. but
One
that's just me.
direction.
I'm also not a fan of it at Fenway. I'm also not a fan of it at Yankee Stadium.
Wow,
You know
you
why?
hate everybody.
You know why? We have football stadiums that have been constructed for just that sport.
Well, Oakland, back in the day, they used to have to.
Yeah.
That was when we constructed stadiums for all things, including monster truck rallies, football, baseball, tennis, golf. You made one big round stadium, and then you could do everything there.
Multiplex.
World's Fair, all of it. You just did it right there. They were all the exact same footprint. They were all the exact same seating chart. 3 rivers, riverfront. You put them back. You put it next to a river. You made a giant circular stadium. Some had roofs, some didn't. Astrodome, same footprint, and that was your stadium. Jack Murphy. They were all the exact same.
How come they were all named after like funny names? Joe Robbie, Jack Murphy. Like what? Like why were there all these names back then?
Because those people probably either allowed the land to be built on or gave them the money to do it.
Here we go.
One or the other.
Super breaded.
And then nobody wanted the apparently property by rivers back then up north, so they could just go put them there. At least in Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, that's what it was. All right, we'll continue the conversation next. Mac and Cube in the morning. 8:28, Friday, February 28th, right here on Jocks 94.5. A couple of you guys still tweeting into the show talking logos. We may get into sports comedy. We may not. We may dive into Florida's offensive line depth chart here in a moment to get the serious football talk back, as some folks says we're not giving them enough of here. Going to be a long offseason if we're talking best, worst logos, which was not a planned topic today.
I want it to be long.
We enjoyed it enough to where we were going to keep it going. If you are not enjoying your home and you need a new one, Gusty Goulis and the Gusty Goulis Group can help you, just like they've done over 3,000 members of the Birmingham community, brokered by eXp Realty. Whether it's marketing, photography, Gusty Goulis is going to be on the cutting edge of everything to be able to get top dollar for your home and get you into a new home. 205-542-1996 or go to GustyGoulisGroup.com. Also, just Google Gusty Goulis Group. You'll see over 850 5-star Google reviews. Gusty Goulis wants to help you get into a new home. He has served all those buyers and sellers, so he knows what inventory is coming up. Has a great idea of where you're going to be able to get into a home, at what price, and going to get top dollar for your home. So call 205-542-1996 or go to GustyGoulisGroup.com today and start packing. All right, a couple of folks chiming in. B. Curtis tweets in, pound for pound, Detroit has the best set of logos for their teams in the country.
Disagree.
I don't love the Pistons logo. I could see where you would think it was a little bit iconic, and it's not bad. I said earlier, I think the Tigers is completely underrated, and it's exceptional.
It's fine.
Helped largely by Ice Cube and Boys in the Hood, but nonetheless,
Wow.
it is a logo that deserves some credit. Now, Lions, solid. Top half of the NFL for sure. Top 5 in the NFL, no. Top 10, maybe. But what else are we throwing in there? The Mercy? What? Isn't that it, or did I miss?
I
I don't have the answers to you.
think that's
I
it.
think that's it. It's the Phoenix
Is
Mercury.
it the shock?
Oh, the Mercury.
Do they?
That's fake. Yeah.
Detroit doesn't even have a team. That's my bad.
No.
I apologize for that, guys.
You said the Mercy.
Isn't that a school though? Like, isn't
That's
that,
Mercer.
Detroit Mercy, yes.
I was about to say, isn't that, yeah.
That's my apologies on my WNBA standings. I missed that.
It's okay. You keep going. We're gonna be in good shape.
We're gonna go to MLS now.
Yep.
I think we're gonna pass.
Why?
Wesley Cotton tweets in, best logo, Mighty Ducks. It's not bad. It's fine. It's just that there are a couple in the NHL that are so good, so timeless, so incredible. It cannot be at the top of that list. It can't. The weekly podcast tweets in, for cool logos, check out the Mardi Gras themed baseball uniforms Tulane and New Orleans are wearing early this weekend. I saw pictures of those yesterday. They are good.
How good?
For alternate uniforms, they're pretty good.
Alt
I'm a
unis?
I'm not always on board with it. Occasionally, I'm fine. JD tweets in, a Clipper is a type of ship.
Yes.
I don't care. The logo's not good.
Wow.
Tell me it is. Tell me why it is.
It's not. It's terrible. I hate it. And they should not even play basketball.
John Max attempting to tell us that the worst logo in sports is the Texas Longhorn. I think a lot of people probably
Probably the best.
disagree with you there.
No, I think it's the ATM logo one. That's more atrocious.
They hate to you.
Did you hear the story at the Combine yesterday? The kid from Boise, who, by the way, I'm rooting for now. Grew up in Egypt, like first Egyptian player to ever go to the Combine. Was like a champion CrossFitter in Egypt, and then somehow found football, and he's at the Combine. He's going to get drafted, and said that when he first got to the Combine, he was asking guys if, "Oh, you played at ATM?" Talking about Texas A&M.
I mean,
that's how green he is in football. Like it's incredible. It's an awesome story.
But you know how awesome it is to be known as the school that is ATM?
When in reality that could also work. Then
Bread
yes.
life.
This all started, by the way, with Nick Stone tweeting in that VMI might have the worst logo in all of sports. It's not too far off. I don't know if I'd give it the worst, but some other folks don't necessarily
Don't see it
agree
that
with
way?
Yeah.
I just don't know why everybody's so mad.
Why Greg McElroy does not believe Major League is the greatest sports comedy ever made. Next on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. I want to follow up with what B. Curtis hit us with a little bit earlier. Pound for pound, Detroit, best set of logos of teams in the country. Collectively, do you have a direction you would go? Just thinking off the top of your head of, like, I think Pittsburgh's going to be up there.
New York and Pittsburgh.
New York's a little bit unfair. There's so, I mean, you have Yankees, Mets. Now, granted, you could have all bad logos. But you have Yankees, Mets that are great. Giants and Jets can be great. I don't know if the ones they have now are everybody's favorites. Liberty, I think, is good.
It's up there.
Some people say. So that may be. Who else is going to be? Boston up there? Bruins, Red Sox. You like Patriots? That could be one that's there. I think Pittsburgh's up there. Pirates, Steelers, Penguins. It's a pretty good trio.
Can't forget Boston Common Golf, TGL.
Yeah, it's a good point. Boston Common Golf.
It's a frog.
So it's got to be there.
Has to be.
Kansas City, only 2, but I feel like pretty good. I think Royals and Chiefs are both up there. Las Vegas stole one and hit the jackpot there, but the rest are not. They're not great.
What'd they steal?
The Raiders. Like, that's not their logo. I'm not going to allow them for that to be theirs. Sorry. Like, you can inherit a great logo, but it doesn't make it yours.
Gotcha.
It's not like your dad's money.
Love that.
Miami's out because of the Marlins, even though the Dolphins are strong. Buffalo's got to be up there, I guess. No baseball, but Bills, Sabres, both really good. Philadelphia up there. The 76ers logo is solid.
Very.
Eagles, pretty good.
Yeah.
Phillies, not bad for baseball. So as a trio, probably you're not going to get the one that makes it terrible. Like Denver's out because the Broncos and the Rockies are awful. Chicago deserves to be up there because
Chicago's always good.
White Sox is solid. Cubs are amazing. Bulls, really good. Bears, incredible. Damien, you might have the lead right now with Chicago. They might be in the lead of collectively best logos because the Saints are at the top and then the Pelicans ruin it.
But also a lot of examples of, how Chicago kind of, has an advantage.
Yeah.
With a quantity of teams comparable to what we just talked about with New York. It's almost like that's exclude them to an extent.
Well, the only thing you have a bonus of is baseball. And if you wanted to choose either baseball, I still think I'd have them towards the top. If not at the top, they're in the discussion. Indianapolis, Colts, and Pacers.
No.
Okay. Worst,
I'm not sure
worst trio of any city. I go Nashville.
I don't know how anyone could possibly say, yeah, I really like Nashville. Golly.
It's got to be towards the bottom.
It's got to be. It's got to be the worst. And I like the city. It's not about the city. People take this like so personal. It's not about the city.
We're talking logos here.
We're talking exclusively about the logos that your city has, and they stink.
What about L.A.?
Dodgers
legit.
I would say
Lakers legit. Clippers terrible.
Kings legit.
Kings are pretty good. And do you group in the Angels? Because the Angels, by the way, similar to Padres, people should pay attention to their marketing departments. Have done a great job with their reboot.
I think all in all, LA does not hold up because for as many good ones they have some that make me want to vomit.
And Minnesota could be there, but the Wild, you're out. Sorry, I can't. It's just not going to be there. Cincinnati, the Reds is a pretty iconic logo. And the Bengals, if I don't know about so much logo, but like helmet, which counts as logo a lot of times, is one of the best. We haven't really talked about them, but maybe they deserve to be in that conversation. Timberwolves ruin it for Minnesota. Twins are good. Vikings are good. The T-Wolves logo is ridiculous. I feel like they had it right for a minute, and then whatever this new circular reboot they've done it's not good. It isn't. Do you qualify the Packers and the Brewers together? Do you kind of group them in?
Yes.
Yeah.
As one?
Yes.
They'd be ahead of a lot of cities.
They would.
St. Louis had it for a minute.
Did for a minute.
Old Rams uniforms.
Yeah.
With Cardinals. And and Blues could have been there. Like they had it going.
Could have been, but it wasn't.
Who gets the Washington football team? Because if it's Baltimore, you have to go Orioles and Ravens.
Yeah.
And then do they get the? We're not allowed to call them the Bullets anymore. But
Ooh.
Yo, Wizards.
It's a good logo though. Back in the day, that's tough. It's tough when you go like across the board. Who's the
Bullets?
best?
The Bullets are so good.
It's not Seattle. I'll tell you that.
You know what I think too, though, when I think of like watching my basketball team play, the Washington Bullets, it really makes me think that like I need to not be violent. Like, what are we doing? Like, I mean, the Bullets. Like, oh, you know what? Watching this basketball team makes me subconsciously think about bullets, which makes me think I need to be violent. Like, what are we doing? How do we connect the dots to that?
Well, let's just. I mean,
the Bullets was so good. Washington Wizards is so
to
corny.
be fair. I mean, I'm sure somebody had the thought of what do you do most in basketball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it kind of went together, but it doesn't really go together.
Right.
Unless you have Gilbert Arenas on your team. And then it does go together.
Well,
or Sebastian Telfair. Then it does go together.
Here we go.
I just speak from
Is he wrong?
Factual information that's been provided.
Gilbert Arenas, same high school as my dad. So
What?
Yeah.
Career earnings. Who's got more?
I think Gilbert's got him beat. Take all of Gilbert's
I bet that would be one that we looked at
in
and it's
15
like
games.
Staggering.
I bet it's over 100. Well over 100.
Way over 100.
Well, you got to take into account how many suspensions he had.
That's fair. There have been some subtractions. 163.
Gosh.
Over 11 years.
Yeah, he's got dad. He's got dad
Got
beat.
beat by a little bit.
Yeah.
Just edged him out.
I think dad's career might equate to like 2 games for Gilbert Arenas.
The crazy part is we see
insane.
163 and it's an insane amount, but there are 7th men off the bench now in the NBA getting that for 2 or 3 years. Not 2, but like 3 or 4 years.
True.
I mean, it's, the contracts now blow that out of the water, but that's still an insane amount of money for a guy that was just good, not an all-time great.
He was
63 mil.
There was a time though when he was legit,
incredible.
Like it's easy to look back and be like, "Wow, that's insane." But like, dude, he was one of the best players in the league for a while.
Joel Embiid's last contract extension was 192.
For how many years?
3.
Exactly.
We're all
dumb. It's dumb.
And you wonder why these guys don't play anymore. Why
Jamie
would
Bailey,
you?
a very fair point. He said he has a GIF of Tom Selleck's Magnum PI that he made Detroit famous before. It wasn't Ice-T, it was Ice Cube, by the way. But yes, Magnum PI helped with that a lot. Iconic logo for multiple reasons. It's a great hat. Detroit Tigers, great hat.
Yeah.
But Gilbert in that Christian Okoye category where you wouldn't allow Christian Okoye to be great, who had a couple good years, and Arenas the same way, but yet you say he's great. Interesting how that works.
No, I would say that Christian Okoye had 1 good year.
2, went over 1,000 twice.
Okay,
playing
cool.
less games.
Still averaged less than. How many points per game did Gilbert Arenas average in his career?
I'm gonna say 17.
Oh, no.
Okay, well that's a little better than 3.9 per carry. But let's look.
I didn't know
I would
that
say
was.
like 20,
I didn't know you
21,
just
22.
put that next to each other like that, and it just worked.
All right, Gilbert Arenas.
How many 1,000-point seasons?
In his career,
Sequoia
he
had
averaged
2,000-yard seasons.
All right, so here's what this is how dumb you are. I love this. In his career, he averaged nearly 21 points per game.
Okay.
I'd say it's a little better than 3.9 per
Did he
carry.
average 21 a game or not? Because Okoye averaged nearly 5 yards per carry.
20.7. 20.7.
Okay, so 20.
I'm confused.
Okay,
20,
so
right,
then
fine,
Okoye averaged 4 per carry.
All right, fine. No, Okoye averaged
4 per carry.
Well, you just said 20. So if he's at 20.7, Okoye's at 3.9, that means Okoye averaged 3.3 per carry then.
But you've been saying 3.9, so that's fine.
And Gilbert Arenas played 11
Here we
years.
go. See, he's going Cal Ripken again. You only use longevity when it's to your advantage.
That's why I'm going points per game.
Oh, he played 78 seasons.
No, I'm going points per game. I'm not going based on, what he did at his very best for the 7 games he was good. Like Okoye. Just
Sorry,
because
they didn't have load management for running backs in 1994.
You said he shared carries.
Load management.
That's
What would that be?
Not load management. It means all they did was run the ball. So you had to have more until they got Joe Montana. Dave Craig wasn't getting it done.
3-time All-NBA.
Hey,
Yeah,
3 out of 17?
Out of 11.
out of 11.
11? 3 of 11? Now we're going baseball stats to help Gilbert Arenas. Got
Hall
it.
of Famer.
Yeah.
Put him in.
Most improved player.
There we go.
The bottom of the bottom to the top of the pops.
Most improved player means you also have to be one of the worst players.
That's not untrue.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the second year.
He got the most improved player after his rookie year.
Hey.
How?
To be fair, I think he was hurt.
So most healthy players.
All right. I want to pull a question.
Player whose health improved the most.
I want to pull a question. Who is better at playing professional sports? Christian Okoye or Gilbert
Can you
Arenas?
imagine people not listening? They're going to see that poll. What in the hell are they doing?
I got you.
Are they trying to get taken off the air? I love it. Go.
I'm just saying, all right, let's look up Christian Okoye.
Yeah, and it's going to be people born before or after 1980 are going to vote either way. After Arenas, before
Just because
Okoye.
Christian Okoye looked big and physical and ran like a
Hold on a second.
refrigerator with arms.
Looked physical?
Big and physical.
He looked
once
great.
again, I hadn't seen you the highlights yet. I feel like you could YouTube those for yourself. Guy didn't have to just look physical.
He averaged less than 4 yards a carry in his career.
Only 2 times All-Pro for him.
In a
He
different
didn't
time.
make All Pro. He made Pro Bowl. He didn't make All Pro
That was-
Okoye, first team All-Pro,
in
89.
1990.
And then second team in 91.
No, false.
He's looking it up. He
No.
has it in front of him. John
Yeah.
has seen the tape on this.
But honestly, it's the AP. So who listens to that?
Yeah, but that's also when they actually played a Pro Bowl game. Like, how many carries did he have in the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, not All-Pro. Or
This
not
is
Pro
so
Bowl, like
annoying
All-Pro.
how they've
Different.
done this now. Like Basketball Reference, like Sport Reference. It's all like on different websites. I need it all to be on one. Sport Reference needs to be on one.
Sorry. All right, we will get Greg's final answer on sports comedies and why he does not have Major League there. There is still, by the way, going to be a little bit of cold weather out there. So make sure you get your system checkup now from a Train Comfort Specialist. Train has been recognized 10 consecutive years as America's most trusted HVAC brand and our exclusive home comfort partners here at Jocks. Visit Train.com to find a comfort specialist near you. It's hard to stop the train.
1-time All Pro, 2-time Pro Bowl. Oops. 1989 All Pro. First team All Pro. Give him credit for that, for sure. 2-time Pro Bowler. Pro Bowler in 91, not All Pro.
Very different Pro Bowl selection time.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. Here we
This
go.
thing, they had an actual game.
Oh,
They
my
played in it.
gosh.
Actually
Who
tackled one another.
cares? Oh, it was so physical back then. No one wanted to get in the hole with a Okoye coming through the hole.
They didn't.
I don't know too
Watch
many.
the clips.
I got news for you. Okoye get blasted in modern day football.
By who?
That's
Everybody.
where you're wrong.
Oh, Steve Atwater took him to. That was a huge collision that one time. Remember that? No, I don't, and I don't care. Okoye overrated.
Back with more Mac and Cube next. considering during the break our new segment, random sports comparisons of the day, better than.
Since Wimp won't let you do it.
Well, he just doesn't want to talk baseball. That's fine.
Well, he does, but he doesn't want to acknowledge that anyone is good at baseball after the year 1954.
I don't think.
The
I think it
last
actually
good
wasn't
baseball
Wimp. It was
player-
actually another listener complaint as to why did I harass Wimp about baseball.
The
So we
last
said,
good
we
player-
better lay off that.
The last good player in baseball, according to Wimp, was Whitey
Mel Ott. I
Whitey Smith. Played for the
think it was Herzog.
the Toronto Maple Expos, and it was in the International League.
Well, we got to get through this quickly because we have set hour 3 aside for minor league baseball logo talk the entire hour. Why do you believe Major League is not the greatest sports comedy ever made?
I think it's good. I don't know if it's the best because I do think 2 and 3 watered it down badly. Like if you're going to do it to put on terrible sequels is a tough thing to wrap your head around.
Okay, yeah, the sequel talk I will not even allow on.
But it
Major
waters
League.
it down.
Okay, but which sports comedy is better than Major League?
It's like
I feel like there's only one that's out there that can even be brought up, and I would not choose it, but a lot of folks would.
You know what Major League is? It was Russell Wilson before he got traded to the Broncos. Like it was amazing,
good?
and then you had a couple sequels,
Super Bowl winning.
and then you had a couple. Yeah, he was a Hall of Famer, and then he had a couple sequels, and it's like, ooh.
I disagree because Major League never did that. Major League stayed
At the top.
Aaron Rodgers.
What about Major League 2?
I don't care. We're not talking about that movie.
What about Major League 3?
We're not talking about that.
It's the whole
movie.
franchise.
It's not. We're
It
talking
is,
about
though.
that movie. No. Predator, greatest action film ever made. The rest of them, awful. Okay? So
Greatest
we're not going to
action film ever made.
Oh yeah, that's not debatable. You can have all your Fast and Furious. Terminator 2, the only one close, but Terminator 1 not near as good. So
I don't know if Terminator 2
We're
is
not
even
talking
an
about-
action film. It's a sci-fi.
Oh boy. Here we go.
what?
I'm not even going to acknowledge that. I was just trying to push my buttons today.
Oh gosh.
I don't even know what to make that comp
I
to
just
on
want
that
to
one.
argue.
Like, that's-
I just want to argue.
we can
today.
tell.
We can do it. I
we can
see.
tell you're
I
arguing
don't care.
Pro Bowl selections versus All-Star games. Like the NBA All-Star selection process is highly thought of. If I'm not mistaken, when Arenas made it, it was literally a fan vote. That was the only way you got in. The fans voted you in.
I wasn't going off of what he did from a fan vote standpoint, or I wasn't using All-Star games to justify him being better than Christian Okoye. I was using the fact that he averaged over 20 points a game in his career over 11 years.
The best part is Alex Page tweets in a GIF of Christian Okoye, and you can't even read the numbers on the video. It's
Yeah,
so blurry.
he's also, I mean, nice tackling. He's also playing against the Lions.
Stop it.
Nice clip.
All right, hour number 3, minor league baseball logo talk coming up next as we move away from Gilbert Arenas versus Christian Okoye all time. How is that? Do we have an update on the poll standings there? How that one's going?
No. Dunna.
Haven't seen the tape?
Hadn't seen the tape.
We can move on to other things like the NFL Combine, which does need a little bit of discussion today. We have a Combine prediction, Greg.
Uh-huh.
Are you a fan of these? Players announcing that they will or won't do a certain thing at the Combine, not participate, but what their results will be.
Not really a fan.
Do you know who holds the all-time record for fastest 40 time?
Xavier Worthy.
There is a prediction that will be broken.
By?
Which the amount of times that it has been broken feels like a bad idea just in general. Because what's it been broken? Like 4 times total?
Yeah. Feels like it.
The kid with the golden spikes or whatever, like 5 or 6 years ago, then Worthy. And I feel like Chris Johnson. There's only like a small handful of guys have actually broken the all-time record in the 40 at the Combine. So now Isaiah Bond says he will break that record.
You believe it?
No.
Believe we want to see it. Like I said, we haven't seen it much in our life. So I know that Worthy it was eye-opening what he did last year, but I'm going to say no. I do think there are a lot of people that believe Isaiah Bond will have a great workout and will blow up the Combine, but
I don't feel like he's that fast.
Apparently he does.
I mean, like, we're talking fast, like 4.2s. Like, I think he's a good player, but I don't know if I'd go as far as to say he's in line to break that.
Speaking of fast yesterday, how about Tennessee edge James Pierce putting up a 4.47 in the 40? Also wearing a hoodie because he forgot to bring his other shirt, which, by the way, I'm not sure that I would have wanted teams to know that.
I don't think that's a good thing.
But said he didn't care, and he went out there and blazed a 4.47 anyway, and then added a 10.3 broad jump to that. Eugene Asante, Auburn linebacker, with a 4.48 yesterday.
Pretty good.
Jihad Campbell, 4.52 and a 10.7 broad. Danny Stutzman, also 4.52. That was one that we kind of wondered where it would land. And Demetrius Knight, South Carolina backer, who we kind of talked about, what would he run? 4.58. I don't think that's bad for him.
No, it's good. At 235 pounds.
Not bad.
Yeah, I don't see Okoye on first take.
Gilbert Arenas is on first take.
We are so
We
bad.
locked in.
Asked and answered. Guess we know who won.
Are you sure? Are
We're
you
talking about
100%
Anthony
sure
Edwards.
it's
Look
him?
at that.
Oh,
Look at that Timberwolves logo. How bad that is. You almost kind of can't tell what it is. Is it supposed to look like a mountain and a wolf crying?
Until you said that, I didn't really notice. But
I think it's supposed
see
to
it.
kind of look like a mountain also. It's just awful. And y'all had it right for a little while, and you changed it. Now it's terrible. They screwed that up bad.
Wow.
Also yesterday, the winner of the day, James Pierce and that 4.47 are going to be what's talked about the most. But maybe winner of the day yesterday, Shamar Stewart. Defensive lineman at Texas A&M. Greg and I both love. He comes in at 6'5", 267. Now, I'll remember all the SEC media days. He was going to be over 300 and whatnot. And we were kind of like, what? So not quite that. But he runs a 4.59 at 267, 40-inch vertical in a 10.9 broad.
Not bad.
I feel like he made himself some money yesterday.
Pretty sporty.
Shamar Stewart made himself some money yesterday.
Pretty sporty.
Landon Jackson out of Arkansas had a really nice day yesterday. A 40.5-inch vertical jump and a 10.9 broad jump. So the explosive capabilities, if you were curious if he's got it, I feel like he gave you all the indications that the traits are there. And apparently has wowed in interviews also. Warren Brinson from Georgia, I feel like a winner yesterday. 6'5", 315. We know he can anchor, right, Greg? That kid can anchor. He can take on a double team.
He's good run. Good. Real good.
5.09.40 at 315. So a 5.09 is not going to wow a lot of people just, on the surface, but that's pretty impressive for the big boy yesterday. And Jalen Milroe saying that he will throw, but uncertain if he will run the 40 at this year's combine. Ashton Genty not going to work out. So you're starting to get a little more answers as to who's going to do what. But I would think Milroe, Greg, that's I mean, he would have a chance to open a lot of eyes in that 40-yard dash. And a little curious to me as to why he might not decide to do that.
Because he really wants to run a really good time. Maybe just hasn't had enough time to work on it. I don't know. I mean, I think that running it at the combine is always the best way to do it. It's been a fast track the last couple of years anyways. Look at the numbers coming out of the combine last year. Why do you think that was? Because people like to see people. Do you really think the players are that much faster today than they were 5 years ago? Come on, man. Come on. Come on now. Come on.
Not that much, but I think that it has, and you know
how many
this.
4.2s we have nowadays?
Yeah, you know this because you did it as well.
Yeah.
The training for it has become so much more specific.
It has.
I mean, just if people knew what went into the 40-yard start and the amount of drills and work and technique and fundamentals, that
Correct.
just that part of one event, I think you would probably be really surprised.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it has been definitely cheated, more so than it has in the past. But let's also take into account, guys, people like to see people running faster than the year before. That's good for business. It's not some magic. Do you honestly think I've watched Xavier Worthy play 100 times? I can promise you he's not the fastest player I've ever seen. It's not disrespectful, but he's not.
But there is also a difference in game speed and track speed or timed speed. There are guys all the time that don't run near as well as we thought they would because in games they look like they're just running past guys. So that's something that takes place on a very regular basis.
Yeah.
But
I'm just telling you, I think it's shaded to make the guys look more physically impressive now than they ever were. Doesn't mean they aren't to an extent. I'm just telling you the sheer when we have, off the ball linebackers that are running low 4.4s now, come on now. Like when we have that many running backs running 4.3s, have that many receivers running 4.3s, I'm just telling you it's not real. It's not. It's not. You can deny it all you want. But I think they make the combine because guess what? This is valuable content for the off season.
it's great inventory.
Great inventory. They have now made the combine a fast track because that's what everybody wants to talk about. And that's what creates buzz to the next event, which is Pro Days, which creates buzz to the next event, which is the NFL draft. So I think it's a mistake for Jalen not to run because I think you're probably going to run a better time here than you are in the handheld times you're going to have at your Pro Day.
That's what I would think. And there were you wondered if this track was actually going to be faster because it looked a little bit slippery in some of the position drills. Guys kind of falling down a little bit, but there have been some really good times that have been put up so far. And I would think James Pierce, Shamar Stewart, so far, and we haven't seen a lot of guys do a lot of different things, but so far those will be your winners of the combine. And it's early.
Was there ever a doubt
early.
that Shamar Stewart was going to win the combine, though? Seriously.
I mean, I didn't know that he would put up these kind of numbers. Greg,
I thought it'd be freak show.
40-inch vertical? I didn't know
Not
that. I didn't know
surprised.
that was going to happen.
Dude, he's a freak show. Total freak show. Probably as big a freak as I've covered. Like just straight freak style.
Okay.
Get your head out of the gutter, Damian.
I didn't think that. I didn't think Landon Jackson would put up these kind of numbers.
No, I didn't expect that.
I mean, I knew he's a good football player, and I knew he would impress in some different ways. But a 40 and he got the best vertical so far at the combine.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it would be that for him.
No.
And there were a couple that were a little. And Landon Jackson 4.68 in the 40 too. I mean, for him, that's pretty good. I mean, he came in at 6'6", 264.
Yeah.
There were a couple that maybe were a bit less than what we thought, like Chris Paul Jr. 4.63. I didn't think that would be like, again, that's a guy that plays sideline to sideline. Like, he does not look like he struggles to cover things out on the perimeter. Like he doesn't look like he struggles to get to the ball. But then you see Princely Umanalelen and he goes 4.72. And he's the guy that we feel like all this twitch, all this get off, like all this speed to the quarterback. And then I thought that would be a little faster than that.
Yeah, but it's really the 10 though. Like who cares about the 40? Like the 10's what matters.
A lot of
most.
people, because that's what they're going to talk about.
Yeah, but that's just because they don't know. The scouts are, and they ain't worried about what Princely Umanalielen's doing in the 40.
Right.
Okay.
People that know,
Exactly.
they ain't worried about it. 10 though, I bet you his get off's lightning. And his first steps.
Smile Monday would be a great example
Excellent.
of that. Great 10-yard split, not a great 40. So Just saying that would be one that falls into your category of we don't really care as much about the 40. Like the quick bursts are there. We're good with that.
That's
fine.
all you need.
Yeah.
It really is all you need. And the 40 is sexy, but remember what the 40's for. Why did we do the 40?
TV.
No. Why was the 40 first introduced into football evaluations?
Television.
No. Any other guesses?
I think that's why they do it now, but I don't know the answer to why it initially came about.
Well, the reason why is because they wanted the original guy that started coaching. I forget the coach's name, but I can look that up in like 2 seconds. But they wanted to figure out who can run down and cover a kickoff. It's the only time you ever run 40 yards.
There you go.
True.
Unobstructed. You run 40 yards. So it was
There are a couple other times the receiver
measurement.
gets over the top.
It was a measurement to see who could run down a kickoff. That's what the 40 was.
Chris Paul Jr., by the way, his 10-yard split 1.62.
Not bad.
Not far off from the top, but not top in. A couple linebackers ahead of him.
Not bad.
So why are offensive linemen running 40s now?
Because people think it's funny. When it is.
There's no reason why they should be running 40 yards.
No, but I think once again it'll go to the 10-yard split.
Screen game.
Like you want guys that can, if they get on the move pretty quickly, either pulling out in space or, like Greg said, screen game covering some plays. Like you still want to measure athleticism to a certain extent. I will say I think like some of the measurements we know that they can be silly, but if you have two guys that are exactly the same on film and you're great for them, and then the workouts lean heavily to another guy, he's going to move up on your board. So I do think you have to take it all into consideration from the big scope of how they're viewing these guys. And I think most of these workouts are used as separators for different guys that you like. You like these two receivers the most? All right. This guy's three cone's totally different. We're going to use him in a lot of quick throw situations, and he's going to run a lot of different routes for us. We got to go with that guy. I mean, that's kind of why I think that they look at these things the way that they do.
Yep.
I don't think anybody's just being judged off their 40, but if James Pierce was right there on tap with Abdul Carter for a lot of different teams, and Abdul Carter's got a broken foot, and James Pierce ran 4.47, they're probably like, you know what? We're going to take the ceiling guy here because we feel like at the end of the day, he's going to be able to give us a little bit more if he hits even close to his ceiling.
Like Darius Hayward-Bay back in the day.
But he had his moments.
Don't you start.
Did he not have moments of being a productive player?
He did have moments of being a productive player.
Which is what you should have expected when you drafted him, because you drafted him largely 80% based on what he ran at the combine. So if that's what you loved about him, then you should have expected him to have an array of routes that he was going to be successful with or catch 120 balls a year. You should have expected him to be a deep threat and hurt people like that occasionally, because that's what you drafted him on.
Well,
so
the thing about
if people draft James Pierce and folks run at him 16 times a game and he doesn't make a tackle, you shouldn't be bummed about that, because you're probably drafting him because he ran a 4.47. Now, if he runs the hump and gets to the quarterback 16 times a season, job done. We'll take it. Good job.
Think about that. Think about only having to make 16 plays a year.
Won a game.
Gosh, we stink. Why do we pick positions where we have to be consistent?
Unfortunately, that's the way that it goes. You can consistently head over to your CBD store for products that are going to help you with your daily routine. If you're trying to lose a little bit of weight, the Trim by SunMed on the shelves now at the largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world. They've been focusing their attention on being the best plant sciences company out there. Your CBD store, first company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. They have the stamp seal on their products so they meet and achieve a certain set of standards and tests to be signed off on. If it's waking up feeling better, more refreshed in the morning, if it's a better night's sleep, if it's better focus throughout the course of the day, skincare, gut health, arthritis, anxiety for you or your pet, your CBD store has answers. Check out one of their 3 locations: Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cage in Cleaver, Trustful just off 459, your CBD store where good health hits home. So I think there are multiple ways to look at it, but I do think we had a couple of separators yesterday and guys that we look at, okay, what they did and how it stood out, and probably moved up and probably made some money because we were either going to measure them against other guys or we weren't exactly sure what we had with them, and that's going to help answer some of the questions about them. So when we come back, I have some really bad news for a certain college football program. You talk about the calendar being out of whack and a college football program taking a massive hit, probably one that didn't really need to. One just has, and I'll tell you who it is and why right after this on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. 9:18 Friday, February 28th on Jocks 94.5. Tommy Wyndham with a fair question in on the Twitter feed at Mac and Cube. You can be a part. The real question is, why don't they do the combine in full uniform?
Yeah.
How great would that? How great would that be? By the way,
it's a really good question.
Jolly tweets into the show: Milroe not running. Isn't there a good chance he's converted to something of a Taysom Hill? Isn't it beneficial for him? I don't think the conversion part is real yet. Greg, would you believe that? Or
I don't think changing positions is at this point an option. I don't think it needs to be at this point.
No. There were multiple players.
We did this with Jalen Hurts. Like, how do you know?
I mean, I thought it was I thought the Eagles made a great pick because if he did not become the starter, they at least would have ways to use him. Therefore, he would bring some value, similar to a Taysom Hill. But I mean, he went way beyond that.
I just don't. You don't know is my thing. Like, you don't know how a guy's going to work out. You just don't know. So I don't understand why everyone tries to change a guy's position before he hasn't tried the position he's always played. Has he ever played linebacker or running back? I don't remember him playing those positions.
Prospects at the combine that were asked to do on-field drills at alternate positions: Howard Cross out of Notre Dame, fullback; J.J. Pegues, fullback out of Ole Miss and Auburn; TCU wide receiver Savion Williams at running back; SMU running back Brashard Smith at wide receiver; and Delaware running back Marcus Yarns at wide receiver. What do you got on Marcus Yarns?
Not a lot.
Hadn't seen the tape.
Probably a beast, though.
Okay.
He's probably about it.
I bet you hated this quote from Tyler Warren in his interviews yesterday. He said, "I wear 44 because my dad watched John Riggins play and told me this is how you want to run the ball." How much do you hate that? How bad do you think John Riggins was?
I think John Riggins would have been average in the modern day NFL.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that's great. It's great that he has a hero of John Riggins.
By the way, that quote from Isaiah Bond was, "I plan to run a 4.2, possibly a 4.1. Oh, boy.
I'll take the over.
On 4.1?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd probably be with you there.
Probably, you don't say.
Yeah, it's probably not happening.
Go on a limb, big guy.
Alabama's A-Day will kick off at noon on Saturday, April the 12th. We don't know exactly what that format going to be, how that's going to look, but you do now have the time in which their spring game showcase carnival extravaganza will take place.
The old showcase carnival extravaganza.
All of it. All the above. So I mentioned before we went to break, by the way, Cam Ward not going to throw at the combine also.
Oh, no.
At least he came out and said it, though, when he said he's not going to throw. Like, my tape speaks for itself, which is fair.
That's what he said?
Yes. Said he feels like his tape speaks for itself. And we'll throw at his pro day.
That's great that
but
he
if
feels
tape,
that way.
if the tape just speaks for itself, why even throw at your pro day? You got the tape. Turn it on.
I don't know, man. The whole, like, the tape speaks for itself type of thing kind of irritates me. Like, just throw. Like, what? Like, what do you have to hide? That's always been my thing. Like, unless you are a guy that struggles maybe intellectually, or a guy that,
wait, even if you struggle intellectually, why would you not just go throw the ball?
Hang on, that's what I'm getting at. Like, if there's something that you don't want to do, like, I don't want to have meetings if I get nervous in a setting like that. Like, I need to hide what I don't do well. Right? Like, if I struggle,
if you don't throw the ball well, it's going to be hard. If you don't throw the ball
well, you're kind of done.
Kind of hard to take you at quarterback.
Yeah, you're kind of in trouble there. So probably wouldn't worry too much about that. If you're being talked about being top of the draft board, I think you're probably all right. But I don't know, man.
Yeah, it feels weird.
It's strange, right?
Florida's going to add former linebacker David Reese to their coaching staff. Obviously, 3-year starter, team captain there for the Gators. Pretty cool get for them. And I mentioned before we went to break a college program taking a big hit, a weird hit. And again, where we are in the calendar, we're almost getting to the point, Greg, where there's not a real calendar anymore.
There is no calendar.
It just anything can happen at any time. We mentioned like 4 guys that went to the portal yesterday.
Yep.
Duke offensive lineman James Pogorich went to the portal yesterday.
Jamie Pogorich?
Like 5 guys the day before that went to the portal. It's not open, but yet they're going in. Somehow they find a way. It's like Mario Brothers. You find the pipe and you just keep pushing down. And then sometimes you go down, sometimes you don't. You're going to find it eventually. Just keep saying you're trying. You'll get into the portal.
Keep trying.
Bowling Green head football coach Scott Loeffler has been hired as quarterback coach for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Good hire?
I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't see he and Jalen Hurts really vibing, but it's not because of Jalen. I've had a couple of his games. He's a little. Scott definitely believes in himself.
Does Jalen?
I think Jalen's proven himself.
But do
So
they
he's
both
good.
have? They both have an air of confidence?
It's a professional setting. They'll be fine working together.
I think they'll be all right.
But if you're Bowling Green, it is February 28th, and you just lost your head football coach. I realize this is Bowling Green, so a lot of people are going to say, "Who cares?" It's whatever. But we're talking a college football program, and Scott Loeffler, by the way, did a great job at Bowling Green.
Yeah, it's a tough
An
deal.
absolute doormat of college football when he took over it. And it's had a couple of ups with Urban and whatnot, but like he got it back to being respectable. And now on February 28th, you just lost your head coach. Who did we from Georgia State last year?
Del McGee.
No.
Sean Elliott.
Yeah, Sean Elliott about this time, right? It was like 3 weeks before. It may have been later.
I think it was around sign
When
day.
he
Like
went to
maybe
South
a
Carolina.
Week after sign day or so.
I know it was a month before their spring game. 1 month. And that's tough. You just think about where you are in the calendar. Most coaches, if they're going to move, they already have their jobs.
Right.
It has to be an interim. We can't even really debate that. I don't know how else you would pretend to go somewhere else with it. But man, that is absolute because that's a brutal hit to a football program on February 28th to lose their head coach.
Brutal.
Is there any other answer other than naming an interim from the staff?
That's all you can do right now, unless there's like some slam dunk guy that's been out of coaching that wants to come in and handle it.
John Gruden sitting right there, man.
Mac Brown.
Wow.
I mean, you can go do it. I mean, it can be done. It's tough sledding. I think if you go from someone outside, then you run the risk of guys hitting the portal. And I don't know how many guys they have on their roster that are attractive. I don't know. I don't know their roster.
But it's going to open up for them.
Yeah, it's available. It's available now.
And they're guys that'll go in just because it's open and they have the ability to get in.
Or they can lever up.
Jeez, dude. It's unbelievable.
Tough spot.
People
People say, "Oh, you're Bowling Green." That's a tough spot.
I don't care. I
Yeah.
hate it for
Tough spot.
everybody involved in that program. I mean,
awful.
I hate it for the players because they had other times, like even though their portal window opens, where you going to go get in school somewhere right now? You can't leave now. You can get in, but you're going to have to finish this semester, right?
One would assume.
I mean, I'm not up on academic calendars, but I imagine that would be tough to just go somewhere
Come
else
on.
and get in school right this second.
You're
It's
a big
not a real
academic
thing.
calendar guy.
Don't know much about it. I know we went from semesters to quarters or vice versa when I was in school. But other than that, I can't help you.
I always thought you were big on academics.
Huge for my children. Me, wasn't as much into it.
You went pro in something other than sports too,
Sure did. Technically.
but kind
Technically,
of
you
sports
could say not.
too.
I got a degree. That's all that matters. But you can imagine from a recruiting standpoint, from a position coach, whoever they name interim, he might have a couple different guys he wants on staff. He might not want a few guys that are on staff now to stay. And he can go find a couple replacements. Then your position coach changes. He's got to put a plan together for spring practice. I cannot find Bowling Green's spring game. And when that is apparently supposed to take place.
It's an impossible spot, but it further proves it's now the second year in a row where we've had multiple head coaches leave the head coaching job. Multiple. Now, it was Chip Kelly. It was Boston College.
Halfley.
Jeff Halfley. Loeffler this year. I mean, there's more and more guys that are leaving. Gus
we talked
Malzahn.
about Bo Davis yesterday. I know it's not. He's taking a pay cut to go to the Saints.
Gus Malzahn. I mean, like, there's a handful of guys that are like, Dan, I'm over this head coaching thing. Like, it looks good on paper, but I think I'd rather just go call plays. That's what's fun. Like some people, when they run, when they play Madden and they're running their organization or whatever, like playing the games itself is what's fun. Doing the contract negotiations with AI is not very fun. I mean, like I'd rather just play the games. So I think it's a tough spot. I do.
It's a very tough spot, and one that you look at with a head coach that had done some really good things at a program that was buried, is now going to leave, and somebody going to have to sort of hit the reset button on that here right before we get into spring football. I would like to just know when their spring practice begins, because I think the situation we talked about at Georgia State, I think they were a week or two away from actually starting spring practice.
Yeah.
When he made that change. So going to be tough. Not going to be something that's easy to overcome.
Brutal.
And that's where we are with this weird college football calendar right now that is just always different and always
Tell you
strange.
what, though, in our line of work, it sure is fun.
No, it helps us.
Yeah. It doesn't stink.
Think about it. We didn't have to talk about team logos right there in that segment.
No, we didn't. But had we talked about team logos, would people have enjoyed it? That's the real question. I think they would have.
Only for a few. There's never a question, though, if you need a gift for your loved one, where you need to go in Birmingham.
That'd be Bromberg's. They do a great job. I've been going there for years and years and years, and I know you guys will have a similar experience that I have. You go in, you just feel like you're shopping with family. You're talking with family. They're helping you through the process. It's not always easy to go and figure out what it is that you want to purchase for your loved one. It's also, you can go in there and get gifts. You can go in there and get jewelry. We know that. But you can get watches. There's things that you purchase at Bromberg's that will be in your family for the rest of your life. It might be in your family for multiple generations. That's why it's important to have the expertise of the professionals at Bromberg's to help push you in the right direction. Something that's going to last a lifetime, like a natural diamond, which is a one of a kind. It's one of the best purchases you can make ever. It's going to gain in value over the course of time. There's just so many different things that you can purchase at Bromberg's that are great investments, not just in you and your loved ones and your relationships, but in your family. So go and see them right now in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit.
All right, we will continue talking college football calendar. A little more college football news that came down in the last 24 hours next on Mac and Cube in the morning. Big college basketball weekend coming up. Tomorrow at noon on ABC, you'll get number 1 Auburn at number 17 Kentucky. Specifically in that game, Greg, is there something that you look for Auburn that has to happen, needs to happen, that either an individual player, an aspect of the team, as far as Bruce Pearl going to Rupp and getting that win?
I think going and getting off to a fast start the way they've done however many times.
Yeah, is it another fast start like it's been for the last we said the other day, 5, 6, 7 straight games now?
I think without question it's a fast start. On the road, hostile place that's, needs it to not to make the tournament. Kentucky's safely in the field, but to improve the possibility of getting the top seed. I think it's an important game for Kentucky. Things have not gone as well in the second half of conference play. So I think going and kind of squandering any momentum that they might be able to build up in the pregame would be huge.
I would probably agree there. A good start would help because I think that calms the crowd down a little bit, gives you some confidence that being on the road is not going to be an issue. I think perimeter defense is going to be important again, but not so much from a 3-point shooting perspective, but not allow those Kentucky guards free trips to the lane. And I think Auburn's size can counter that to a certain extent. So also not allowing that to get you in foul trouble early, because Kentucky will drive, and some of the Auburn bigs maybe getting foul trouble early on could be another potential issue. Let's go to Alabama at Tennessee, 3:00 on ESPN. Number 6 Crimson Tide at number 5 Tennessee. Both teams 23-5. Defensively, this is a different matchup. This is a tough matchup. Maybe pace of game becomes a little bit different. You struggle to keep it where you want it to be. What do you look for in that game as what maybe needs to happen, has to happen for Alabama to be able to get a win?
Well, I think it's going to be important just to continue to shoot at a really high level, man. I mean, they've been shooting it pretty well. I think Sears has done a good job the last couple games. I think continue to try to clean things up from a turnover standpoint, something I'm always focused on. I don't like a team that is could fall victim to a sloppy performance from a ball security standpoint, because all it takes is a slightly off shooting night and you're turning the ball over and you lose to a team you shouldn't lose to in the NCAA tournament. So I think just cleaning things up from a turnover standpoint is still going to be at the very top, because I've been impressed with how they've done it from a shooting standpoint the last couple of games. Also very impressed with what they did defensively last time out. So I think they're making progress there. Now it's about continuing to cut down on self-inflicted mistakes like turnovers, and you're in great shape.
Yeah, I would be with you there also. It's going to be 2 real fun basketball games to watch when you just consider kind of what it is to go play at Rupp. Obviously, going to Knoxville, not an easy place to play. Auburn has not traditionally been very successful there. Alabama facing a different style basketball team. Just going to be fun to kind of watch these two play out and see how both teams operate on the road.
For sure. And I think going on the road is really fun in this conference, man, because you might be the very best team like Auburn has proven to be. Man, it's tough sledding. I mean, it's tough sledding on the road in this league, so you never really know what you're going to get. You hope for the best, but there are no guarantees, so should be a lot of fun with both these matchups this week.
The rest of the league, by the way, 11:30 tomorrow morning, you can hear that on Jocks 94.5, Auburn at Kentucky. You look at the rest of the league tomorrow, also at noon on the SEC Network. Arkansas is at South Carolina. Arkansas needs that win, one that they probably should get on the road against an 11-17 Gamecock basketball team with 1 SEC win. An important game for Oklahoma. An important game for Ole Miss from a seeding perspective. All these games big for teams that are middle lower of the pack in this tournament field. Now, as to if you can move up one line, that could be massive as to where you go or who you see in the first round. You've got that at ESPN2, 1:00, Oklahoma at Ole Miss. 2:30 on the SEC Network. LSU is at Mississippi State. Stated team. I'm not going to say they need this win to get in, but obviously, again, from a seeding perspective, pretty big. 5:00 on the SEC Network. Missouri at Vanderbilt, which those two teams have both been a little bit up and down at times this year. Will be an intriguing one for Vandy, who probably needs it a little bit more than Mizzou. I think Mizzou's fate pretty much sealed right now. Georgia at Texas. Texas needs it. Georgia needs it. 7:00 on ESPN2. That's a big game for both those teams. And then at 7:30 Saturday night, tomorrow night on the SEC Network, you get number 12 Texas A&M and at number 3 Florida, who had a bit of a trip up this week. You don't want to. It's okay to kind of stub your toe, but you don't want to completely stumble, fall down, and roll down the hill here towards the end of the season if you're Florida.
No, at all. But then again, I don't think it's that uncommon to see some teams, play a little bit up and down, play to the level of the competition this time when they are already kind of secure and they feel pretty good about where they're at. It's not that uncommon to see teams that are maybe going to ebb and flow with their consistency here down the stretch.
Yep. All right. On the other side, maybe an update or two from the combine, a couple other things that are beginning to trickle out about what some guys will, maybe won't do. Also, we referenced a certain entity a few weeks ago that seems to be very high on Auburn. And I'm beginning to wonder what the ceiling of that is going to be during this offseason. I'll tell you why next on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 9:43, Friday, February 28th, right here on Jocks 94.5. We told you about one group of folks that's pretty high on Auburn and some things that they have in their offseason for the Tigers that has another release that will make you feel even better potentially about the Auburn Tigers football team this upcoming season. We'll get to that in just a moment. I want to tell you about Game Day Men's Health. If you're feeling on edge, if you're lacking sleep, it could be the effects of low testosterone. And Game Day Men's Health is going to give you a free consultation that includes a free PSA test and free testosterone test when you go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com and schedule an appointment today. It's that easy. No charge consultation, no charge testosterone test, and no charge PSA test. Also keep in mind, Minimal upfront costs from the programs that they offer. Holistic approach to health and wellness at Game Day Men's Health. Weight loss programs, they have multiple. Also peptides in now to help you with lots of different ailments. So head over to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Schedule your free appointment. Any of those services that we mentioned, by the way, save 10% on any of those, mentioning Cube when you walk in the door. GameDayMen'sHealth.com wants to help you. And why not just schedule that free consultation, see where you are from a health perspective now, and then see what Game Day Men's Health can do for you at GameDayMen'sHealth.com. So PFF told us a couple weeks ago, Greg, that Auburn, the only team in the country that has 2 of their top 10 wide receivers returning in college football. Now, a new list has emerged from PFF this offseason, and that is the top 10 returning interior offensive line in college football. Yeah, linemen in college football. Coming up at number 5 would be Connor Lew, Auburn center, which only has me wondering now out loud, if PFF were to have a top 25 released, where would Auburn be right now? Because it's pretty apparent that somebody who's putting these lists together feels pretty good about the Tigers.
Loves them.
Yeah. Top 10?
I don't know if I'd have them top 10 if I were them, but I think they probably like them a lot.
Okay. Connor Lew, good player. I like Connor Lew. I think he's got a very high ceiling still. I don't think he's anywhere close to reaching his full potential. I don't think it is a heavy year of elite interior offensive linemen returning in college football. So that might help him just a little bit as well. But you start hearing more and more accolades coming out. What should folks realistically be expecting from this Auburn football team this fall? Because you mentioned a couple weeks ago also that the win total was not where you thought it would be for this team as far as Vegas is concerned.
No, I like them a lot this year, but I also think that there are few guarantees when it comes to this roster either. I think Connor Lew's a good player. I don't know where he stacks up against those that also play the position nationally. I've never put a list together like that. If you have, I'd be curious to know what your list looks like and how close to the top he'd be.
I can give you the rest of it. Alabama fans will be excited that they have 2 on this list. Parker Brailsford being 1, Jaden Roberts being the other. Jaden Roberts comes in at 10. Brailsford comes in at 7. So that's good.
The only thing I'd say about Jaden Roberts, like, it's hard to go off of last year because it was a tough year. Let's just acknowledge what it was. It was a tough year for him last year. But at the same time, when he's healthy, he's been good. He just was really banged up last year. So it's hard to get a good sense of what he's capable of.
Yeah, it's fair. He has been dominant when he is heading the right direction and healthy. And there were times where both of those were not happening at different points last season. But I don't have a problem with him being on this list because, like I said, I don't think it's a real heavy list of guys that just wow you. Jake Slaughter out of Florida is number 1. Solid player. But he's not a guy that I look at like, I mean, I would take Brailsford before I'd take him. I'll just say that. Armaj Reed Adams from Texas A&M.
I think Brailsford's really freaking good.
I think he's.
I mean, I know that. Look, people will naturally say, "Oh, it's just the Bama in you," but I think he's that kind of player.
He's great. He's great at Washington.
But he's a backbone piece in my eyes. Like, he's that good. I mean, he is a guy that I think gives me great confidence in that group collectively, if he can continue to progress based on what he did last year. But last year, I think you could have made a case he was a top 5 interior offensive line last year in the SEC, and probably, if not the best center, one of top 2 centers.
Yeah, for sure,
in the league. All
right, so the rest of the list would go Armaj Reed Adams, Texas A&M, the transfer from Kansas, had a good year. Iapani Lalu out of Oregon. I'm sure I butchered that, and I apologize. Logan Jones out of Iowa, who I do like a lot. Center for Iowa, really good football player.
Yeah.
I put him right there with Brailsford and Lew. Caden Green at Missouri, who I thought was a little up and down, but did have some spots where he flashed and did some really good things. Oklahoma transfer. I mentioned Brailsford. Coming in at 8, Olea Vega Ioane out of Penn State.
Yeah.
You called a Penn State game. How close was I on that one?
Ioane, but not bad. Pretty close. I think he's excellent.
Good player.
Big fan.
Thomas Rematch, Virginia Tech. I hadn't seen much of the tape.
Ain't seen it.
When I watched Virginia Tech, I watched the tackles, so I didn't really see it.
It's Remac.
Rimac.
Yeah, he started his career, I believe, at West Virginia.
Rematch. He did start at West Virginia.
Yeah. So he wasn't bad at West Virginia. I remember we had one of his games at West Virginia 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That was obviously a long time ago, but solid player.
Yeah, plays guard.
Yeah.
And then Jaden Roberts at 10. Honorable mention was Joshua Braun at Kentucky.
I believe it's Remac, by the way.
Remac.
Yeah, Remac.
Kind of like the real estate company, except without the X.
Ooh. Way to go.
Got it. Tell our listeners, if you're trying to move out of your home, who you should call.
Crocker Movie Service is a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys. And you can trust them in your home. They need your whole home packed up and move, your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room. These guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website is CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
This is a little bit of a difficult practice and one that we probably need a little extra time for. But just right now, heading into spring, so we know there's another portal window that will be there and things could change a little bit. What offensive lines in the SEC do you feel good about? We just mentioned 2 interior offensive linemen from Alabama that are going to be back in the top 10 for PFF, which is PFF. It is what it is. But there is reason to have confidence there. But that's even one that we have some real question marks about.
I'm trying to think of
go down. You just tell me feel good or don't feel good about Texas.
Average.
I don't feel good about it. Now, part of that is because I felt great about it last year, we'll say.
I think part of it, though, has to do with you got to kind of trust them, but I don't feel good about it. I just think it's average.
You lose all
I'm
that.
not worried, but I think it's average.
Yeah, you lose all that experience at center with Jake Majors. You lose 2 super talented tackles. You lose a guard that played good football. Georgia, feel good or not?
Yeah.
I think it's hard to feel good about it right now.
About average.
Tennessee, feel good about it? Feel bad about it?
Bad.
Don't feel good about it here. Alabama.
Average.
I feel pretty good about it.
I'm just a little worried about right tackle.
Yeah, I feel not great, but
they lost their best player.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe the best player on the team.
I am put it in the same category as Texas and Georgia. Like TBD, feel okay, don't feel bad, but we'll see.
LSU, feel good or bad about it?
Bad.
Can't feel good about it. Not losing those 2 tackles and losing a starting guard or 2 starting guards, really. I mean, it's a lot. South Carolina, feel good or bad?
Bad.
I would say better than I have in the past, but not great. Texas A&M.
Good.
Okay, feel okay about it.
Yeah.
Ole Miss.
Bad.
Yeah, I would say no idea. Like literally just throw a dart.
It might not be worse than last year.
Nope. And it might not matter that much because they've found some success without a group that can really block people at a consistent rate. Similar to last year. Missouri, feel good or bad?
Bad.
You got Tolleson and Greenback. I think that's a good start inside, but losing Mimbu is going to be tough. I don't feel great about it. Florida.
Good.
Feel okay about it. Arkansas.
Bad.
Yeah, tough to feel good. Vanderbilt. I got to go watch this kid from South Dakota that apparently they got. I haven't seen the tape yet, but I don't know how you can feel great about it.
I'm going to go and say bad.
Oklahoma.
Good, actually.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is that compared to last year or just in general?
Yeah, probably
okay.
compared to last year.
Compared to last year, I feel a lot better about it.
Yeah, I think that probably
great.
has something to do about it. I mean, because I know they're not going to be worse than last year. I like the additions, or I like the continuity that's been created, and I think they've improved already by way of the portal, the kid they got from West Carolina, and the top offensive tackle according to some publications in the country this year. So,
Auburn.
Good.
I think there's reason to feel really good about it. Not saying it's going to be dominant group or top 5 group in the country or even the conference, but the tackle position has been addressed. Now they still got to come in and play. Jake Thorne's got to coach them up, but I think ability-wise, they are better there than they were a year ago. You get a right guard back that now is in better shape, knows the playbook, and can give you some real a real physical aspect to your team next to Connor Lew, who's pretty good. And I think Dylan Wade's better at guard. So there are reasons to feel really good about it. Now it's got to come together, but there are reasons to feel good about it. Maybe with a more mobile quarterback that could make defenses play you in different ways, which is an advantage for the offensive line. Kentucky.
Bad.
I don't know how you can feel good about it. I just don't. And finally, Mississippi State. I'll just say this. I'll throw them up there with Ole Miss.
Who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah. So I think by our counts, right? Let's make sure we got this right. A&M, feel pretty good about them.
Mm-hmm.
Feel pretty good about Florida.
Yep.
Feel pretty good about Auburn.
Yep.
Feel pretty good about Alabama.
Yep.
Feel pretty good about Missouri.
Yes. And you feel pretty good about Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That would be it.
Yeah. So 6.
Yep.
It's not bad.
No, and there are a
To be
couple,
honest with you.
and there are a couple better than last year. Like I feel better about South Carolina than last year. Doesn't mean they're going to be great. I might feel better about Vanderbilt when I go watch some of these portal guys. I haven't seen them all, but I might. But I don't know. Is that collectively better than it was last year?
Probably not. They're going to get by on skill and smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
I mean, so like that. By the way, there's nothing wrong with winning with that.
Oh.
Gus Malzahn won a lot of games with smoke and mirrors.
There you go.
I mean, seriously, like that's good coaching in some cases.
Absolutely.
Another place where you can get good coaching is at Bill Smith Buick GMC. They've trained their sales staff to do an amazing job and make sure they give you the best possible deal. No one's going to beat them with price. Nobody. That is a guarantee. They will beat the other guy's price. Go and check it out for yourself. A GMC Sierra right now that you can get for $12,000 off the sticker price. That's a 2025 GMC Sierra SLT. You're just not going to find deals like that anywhere else. The reason why they can sell more is because their overhead is less. Their inventory is more. So they can give you and pass that savings on to you. They've won GMC Dealer of the Year 9 times. They've won the National Championship of Dealerships the last 5 straight. So it's amazing. Go take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. You can also shop online. Have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. Sincere apologies for all the logo talk and those that were disgusted by it. Might do more of it Monday. Richard Hendricks is going to hang out with us in studio in the 9 o'clock hour on Monday. And Paul Feinbaum is always with us at 7:15. Keep it locked next for 3-Man Front. Paul Feinbaum right after that. And you can hear Auburn, Kentucky live on Jocks tomorrow morning. We're back Monday.